Let me take this opportunity, honorable members, to have a moment of silence for the chorus leader of Masibuyele Jehovah, Anna Mabuza, known as Mama Fifi, who passed on, and other members of the communities of Mpumalanga who passed on. I request that we observe a moment of silence. May we be seated? Let me take this opportunity and welcome our honorable members to this hybrid sitting, which is conducted through the Microsoft Teams platform and whereby some members are in remote attendance. This hybrid sitting is conducted in terms of Rule 3A of our standing rules, referred to as rules for sittings of the House and meetings of committees by virtual means. Honorable members must, however, note that our rules and orders are still applicable during the proceedings of this hybrid sitting, and we are therefore called upon to adhere to them. You are further requested to remain in attendance for the duration of the hybrid sitting unless a formal apology to leave the sitting has been duly tendered. The Secretary will ensure the provision of technical support throughout the sitting. Honorable members, all microphones must be muted and the video must be turned off when a member is not speaking. When a member intends to speak, please click the icon to raise your hand. Once you are recognized by the speaker, please unmute your microphone and turn on the video to introduce yourself and speak. Honorable members are further requested to speak closer to microphones of the gadget that you are using to ensure that your voice is audible enough. Statements by members. Are there any member statements? Honorable Mlombo.
Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to greet you, Honorable Speaker, to greet the Honorable Premier, the members of the Executive Council, my fellow members of the Provincial Legislature, and the Deputy Chief Whip. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress to deliver a member statement. The African National Congress commends our Honorable Premier, Honorable R.M. Twenitsipane, together with the MEC for Human Settlement, Honorable Speedy Mashilo, for handing over 200 houses to the needy families in the Bushbuckridge local municipality. The 200 government-subsidized houses, Honorable Speaker, were delivered through the Enhanced People's Housing Project at 2 child-headed families. The handover was held on the 6th of August 2021 in Castile in Bushbuckridge. Honorable Speaker, the Department of Human Settlement is doing great work in the delivery of better human settlement in the province. More houses will soon be provided to the needy people of this province. Just 2 days back, houses were being provided or handed over in the area of Elukwatini in Sibande. by the Honorable Premier and the Honorable MEC for Human Settlement, Honorable Speedy Machilo. The African National Congress appreciate all these good endeavors to improve the living conditions of our people. We thank our energetic Honorable Machilo for hitting the ground running. I thank you.
Honorable Machilo.
Thank you, Speaker, and thanks to Honorable Chief Department. We are happy that at least the work we are doing is indeed, and we must indicate to the legislature and all the people of the province that we are committed to indeed address the problem that our people are challenged, in particular the invasion of the houses, as well as the corruption that's said to be there at the level of the houses. They must once more speak. Much appreciated.
Honorable Sope.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me create the protocol as observed by Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Mlombo. Honorable Speaker, the ANC would like to commend the good work that is done by Honorable Premier, Honorable RM Tsipane, and Honorable MEC Manzini for the good work that they are doing in order to run a well-organized vaccination in the province. We also call upon the people of the province to respond to the well-organized program of the Department of Health by attending to the vaccination. We really appreciate the good work and the manner in which they are running the program. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Manzini, can you please turn on your video and speak? Honorable Shongwe, can you turn your video and respond to the issue of the vaccination?
No, ngiyabonga kakhulu Somlomo, ngibingelele indlu yesishayamithetho, ngibingelele undunankulu, ngibingelele ama-member executive, ngibingelele wonke okhona. Siyabonga kakhulu isiphakamiso noma istatement esishiwo ngumhlonishwa uHlophe. Nathi ezimpumalanga ngicabanga ukuthi uqinisile umhlonishwa le program eholwa nguNdunankulu no MEC uSasekane Manzini iyasilekelela ngoba nathi as a province kule program ye rollout ye vaccination in the country sibalwa kanye nama provinces asebenza kakhulu insofar as rolling out of that particular program. Siyabonga.
Are there any member statements? Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, I rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus. After a decade of planning and hundreds of millions of rands being spent on the proposed high-altitude training center in Emakazeni and the cultural hub in White River, there is still not a single brick laid on either of these two ambitious plans and set aside millions for its construction. Since then, every year, millions more were budgeted and spent on the 5 billion rand each. However, in 2015, then Premier Mabuza announced that the projects were ready for private investment when it became clear that there would not be enough money for the province to complete the projects on its own. It has been reported that to date around 400 million rand has been spent on architectural services as Sport and Recreation's first quarter performance report of 2021 and 2022, and the fourth quarter report of 2020 and 21, contractors have yet again been appointed, which means that there's not a single construction to show for the expenditure, except for vacant plots of land. It is unacceptable that the ANC government takes on major projects with no results in communities where the money should have been spent on much needed infrastructure, public maintenance and community uplifting. This is yet another example of how corruption is eating away at our society, and the Freedom Front Plus condemns this blatant incompetence and irresponsible behavior with no accountability toward those individuals who cause this decay. We call on the MEC Mjalinjali to investigate into this matter and report back to this House to confirm or if construction on both projects has commenced, and to clarify on what the money thus far has been spent. I so move.
Honorable Shongwe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you. And deputies, we don't have a deputy speaker yet, sorry. Members of the legislature, the Honorable Premier, members of the executive, HODs. Our response as a department to the statement raised by Honorable Weber is that we will submit a comprehensive report, because up to so far, feasibility studies have been made with regards to this project. And if you can visit the project now, Honorable Weber, you will find that something is happening. We note that it has taken long, but also go back to the reports, because the government of Mpumalanga asinayo imali lama billions labalwa lapho. Honorable Premier suggested in previous report, not the current Premier, I think when it was still Honorable Premier Mabuza, that a triple P must be done. Up to so far, asikakabi nawo lama companies lawa lafuna kubambisana na government ukuthi kwakhiwe lama projects layitu, but according to i-budget lefakwa iMpumalanga government, we are doing something. Go and do your oversight visit. You will see that something is happening, and also AMA reports, feasibility studies are there. But if you want a comprehensive report, we will do it and submit to the legislature. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Sithole.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and greetings to the House. I rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. Honourable Speaker, during the sitting of the legislature that took place on 25 March 2021, this August House adopted a motion without notice calling upon the Department of Health and the Department of Public Works to urgently fix or replace the lifts at Standerton Hospital, as they were dysfunctional for more than 4 months at that time. After the motion was adopted, the DA conducted an oversight at the hospital, and the contractor was on site, in which appeared to be an attempt to replace or fix the lifts. And the lifts were actually there. Honorable Speaker, it was a shock to find that the lifts are still not working during our oversight this week. Work has stopped and the contractor hasn't been on site for weeks. Healthcare workers continue to carry critically ill patients up and down the stairs to access the theatre. Honorable Speaker, the continuous challenges at Standerton Hospital must be given priority. It is not fair on patients and healthcare workers to function under such conditions. Our frontline workers, especially our healthcare personnel, have fought and continue to fight against this pandemic. They risk their lives every day to save ours. The fixing of lifts at Standerton Hospital is urgent to alleviate the suffering of patients and healthcare workers at this hospital. I thank you.
Honorable V.R. Shongwe.
Somlomo ngibonge nesiphakamiso ngumhlonishwa uSithole. Ngithanda ukusho kulendlu yesishaya mthetho ukuthi le ndaba iphakamisayo ngicabanga ukuthi kubalulekile ukuthi siyithathe no MEC we health kanye no MEC we public works ke sibahlanganise ke uzawukhumbula ukuthi kuhulumende wa mama uRefilwe Mthweni Tsipane ngiyi-leader of government business. On my capacity as a leader of government business ngizobahlanganisa bobabili ke sisibheke lesishukumiso sibone ukuthi siyiqiniso noma kukhona la sibambeke khona. Ngiyabonga.
Honorable Sidibe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the Premier and the honorable members. Sukuma njengelunga le nhlangano ye-EFF ukubonga umsebenzi lomuhle lo wendiwe ema-Hawks lapha eMiddelburg Nkangala District Municipality ngokubopha mayor kanye nalabanye ama-officials like 8 labatholakala babandakanye kwenkohlakalo yokudefraud or yokuntshontsha imali yahulumende. Ubonga kakhulu umsebenzi wema-Hawks. Bangasi ungaqhubeka njalo kulabanye bomasipala nalamanye ema-department lasathi bandakanya nenkohlakalo ngoba inkohlakalo irobha abantu bakithi ema-services. Inkohlakalo irobha abantu bakithi imali yenzeka ngalese ibhadalayo. I so move Somlo.
Honorable Shongwe.
No, Somlomo ngibonga kakhulu isiphakamiso ngumhlonishwa uSedibe. Engicabanga ukuthi isiphakamiso lesi ebekungafanele ukuthi asiphakamise njengestatement kodwa sosiphakamisile. Umsebenzi wamaphoyisa vele yiko lokho. Nathi ke njengenhlangano ebusayo manje asiphikisani nomsebenzi wabo abawenzile. Engicabanga ukuthi ke sesizawubona ke ngoba centrally to that kukhona lena ethi umuntu is innocent until proven guilty. Sesibuke leyo process ikilandelane njalo. Sicabanga ukuthi siyibheke ngamehlo amabili. Nathi siyayilandela kuze kuyofika la kiwa khona. Siyabonga.
Executive statements. There is an executive statement in the name of the MEC for Finance, Economic Development and Tourism. Honorable P.V. Mkachwa, you are now formally requested to table the executive statement.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable Premier, the Leader of Government Business, colleagues in the executive, the Honorable Chief Whip and
Honorable MEC, can you please turn on your video? We are live on Facebook.
Honorable Speaker, I'm using the same gadget to present my statement. So I must apologize because it becomes difficult to turn on the video as well at the same time. Am I allowed, Speaker, to continue?
You can continue.
Thank you. The Honorable Speaker and the Honorable members of the legislature, good day. Madam Speaker, as we draw closer to the end of August, which is a month marked to pay homage to the role played by women of 1956 in the context of demonstrating unwavering effort to fight for justice against the barbaric system of apartheid, I rise in this August sitting to highlight some of the concerted efforts we are making as a department to assist and help businesses owned by the historically marginalized individuals in the rural and township areas, women in particular. As a department, we have already embarked into a program to visit and engage with entrepreneurs who are affected by the number of disruptions in the economy, who are operating in rural and township areas. We have visited a textile and clothing business owned by a young woman in Elukwatini to conduct post-funding assessment and help to strengthen the business in areas of need. I must indicate that this business rose at the backdrop of government intervention through the Mpumalanga Youth Entrepreneurship Program. We have also started to visit other areas in the province. I led a very important SMME roadshow to Matsulu, together with the agencies of the department and our external stakeholders in the SMME development and support in order to engage the entrepreneurs of the area, expose the programs we collectively have as the department and our stakeholders to local entrepreneurs operating in the informal economy, in the township, and of importance, we helped with the donation of the salon equipment to women who operate in that specific sector and car wash equipment to help the SMMEs to rise and thrive. Our program to help business in the rural and township areas is continuing unabated, and we are confident that it will bring much needed change in the entrepreneurship landscape. We will be visiting the Bushbuck Ridge area next week on Monday, the 30th of August 2021, with a similar program of SMME engagement and ultimately leave a token to some few entrepreneurs who are in the salon and car wash space, because entrepreneurship is about ecosystem, and for the SMMEs to succeed, they need a conducive environment. And this is more telling under the circumstances of the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 and other distractions to the small business sector. Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, the EFF note the presentation by the MEC for Finance, Economic Development and Tourism. Honorable Speaker, we fully support any intervention and initiatives that seeks to assist, especially the mostly disadvantaged group of our population in our society, which are women. Women, just like men, deserve equal, if not more, support in accessing funding, information to start successful businesses, mentoring, as well as access to the market for both product and services they render or produce. The EFF believes there is still red tape or hindrances, especially for rural women who some are above youth age when it comes to funding, such as the recently announced funding program by the Office of the Premier. Such funding programs should exclude age limit if it has to contribute in the fight against unemployment. The EFF recognizes the participation of women in almost all small business, vendors, tourism, etc., and wishes that all funding must allocate a bigger share to fund women of all ages. MEC, there is a lot of corruption and nepotism in the granting of assistance by relevant department to home-based care, where deserving applications are overlooked by the officials so that they can fund people who are their friends or relatives, if not comrades. Thank you.
Democratic Alliance, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Honourable MEC has just delivered his executive statement on how his department plans to meet and engage with entrepreneurs who are affected by the recent disruption.
Honourable Member, can you please turn on your video?
Reading from the gadget, I've got the same problem. Otherwise, I won't be able to present my speech. I will switch on the video afterwards. Thank you very much. The DA has been quite vocal about the effects of COVID-19 pandemic and the related lockdown on the economy, on the loss of hundreds of jobs and the closure of many companies. We welcome the MEC's initiative. Honourable Speaker, may I request that the Honourable MEC focus more on not just engagements and come up with initiatives to reduce the impact of the current economic crisis and improve the heat. We lost 130,000 jobs and the people continue to suffer. Throughout the years, our province has battled to deal with integrating youth into the economy, and as of recent, the youth unemployment increased to more than 63%. Honourable Speaker, given the above, we need to find a way to reintegrate those who lost their jobs into the economy with a specific focus on women and youth within our province. Honourable Speaker, in conceptualizing the Mpumalanga Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, I call on the MEC to ensure that there are plans which will grow the economy and create jobs in the short, medium, and long term, and plans which does not rely solely on projects which are stalled, such as Mpumalanga Fresh Produce and the Ngomazi SEZ. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, the DA welcomes the MEC's initiative, and we request that given the current economic outlook, more needs to be done. I thank you.
Freedom Front Plus, 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, it is not the function of government to create jobs, it's the function of private enterprise. But under special circumstances like we are experiencing now with the pandemic that has hit us all, which has weakened our economy, it support the economy, to revive the economy, especially with women. And once again, we believe in merit. If on merit grounds a woman qualifies for a certain support, it must be given. But it must be on exceptional circumstances, and the circumstances which we experience now are indeed exceptional. I thank you.
African National Congress, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. We welcome the executive statement by the Honourable MEC and its content. We welcome the progressive move that has been taken by the Honourable MEC to reach out to business in Mpumalanga to try and encourage them not to give up because of the challenges that we have faced with regards to the looting of businesses, to the destruction of businesses. It is true, Honorable Speaker, that even before the looting and the destruction could take place, we already had an economic volcano in the country, that one of COVID-19, that have destroyed livelihoods, that have destroyed the economy of this country, that has in fact increased the unemployment rate in the country. But before that also, Honorable Speaker, with the economy of our country and the economy of the province was on technical recession, where we experienced the loss of jobs in large numbers, affecting especially the youth. That is why we appreciate and welcome the initiative by the Honorable MEC, because it is concentrating on the sector that has been made to be vulnerable by the different economic earthquakes that we have experienced in the recent past. So as the African National Congress, we welcome the initiative, we welcome the executive statement. Thank you.
Motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? Honorable Nyembe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of EFF to convey our sincere condolences to the ANC and the family of Babita Diokonas, who died for exposing corruption at the hands of the so-called comrades. Honorable Speaker, how many Babitas will die exposing corruption of politicians who pocket kickbacks? Corruption is costly, Honorable Speaker, and very evil. It should be dealt with by abolition of tenders and rejecting political parties that embrace corruption. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion. Agree to?
Agree. No.
Motion is defeated. Honorable Mashiro.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I rise to move a motion without notice on behalf of the governing party about the bullying of a 17-year-old learner for grade 10 at Ntokozeni Secondary School in Tembisilehani local municipality, which happened on the 4th of August 2021. Noting that the matter was reported about the learner that he allegedly suffered physical injuries, including a broken shoulder, swollen chest, and died after he was examined in a nearby health facility. Further noting that the Department of Basic Education and our communities can prevent this barbaric incident by coming up with joint programs to harshly deal with such elements and create a conducive environment for teaching and learning. Honorable Speaker, we condemn bullying and violence to the strongest possible terms it deserves in our schools. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion. Agree to?
Agreed.
So agreed.
Agreed.
Honorable Morgan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the House. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion without notice on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. Noting that the Democratic Alliance was shocked by the White River Magistrates Court's decision on Wednesday to grant bail to a 30-year-old man who is accused of molesting a 14-year-old girl. Further noting that yet again, our justice systems fall short to protect the rights of women and children, and it is more crucial for Mpumalanga government to appoint a children's commissioner. Noting that the accused was granted bail of 3,000 proves that children's rights are not prioritized in Mpumalanga courts. Statutory rape is no normality. Allowing the accused to go back and live in the very same community as his victim does not promote the protection of children. Noting further that DA-led Western Cape government is proof that the appointment of Children's Commissioner is a step in the right direction in protecting the rights of children. The Office of the Western Cape Commissioner for Children celebrated its first year. Christina Nomdo, Commissioner for Children, stated that she is proud that they were able to develop creative ways to connect with children, and she's looking forward to finding ways to change the systems to better realize children's rights. I therefore move that this House adopts to call on the Honorable Premier to appoint a Children's Commissioner from Mpumalanga, and also to condemn crimes related to abuse and sexual offenses against women and children, and to support the victims and their families. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion. Agreed to?
Agreed.
So agreed.
Thank you.
Honorable Lachminarain.
Greetings, Honorable Speaker, and greetings to the Honorable Premier. Honorable Speaker, I rise without notice for this House to applaud our Honorable Premier, Ms. Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane, together with the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs, MEC Mandla Msibi, on their plan to launch the Agriculture Food Basket Initiative, noting that this initiative seeks to improve the food and nutritional security of vulnerable households in rural, urban and peri-urban areas of the province amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Further noting that the provincial government has identified Manzana area in the Albert Luthuli local municipality for the establishment of a 1.5 hectare for a nursery to produce vegetable seedlings to supply 56 projects in the surrounding areas. Of the 664 identified beneficiaries, 424 are females and 222 are youth. This project will contribute towards job creation of our young men and women in the province. This is indeed an indication that the African National Congress led government 28th of August 2021 in Nkalane CPA site in Manzana and Chief Albert Luthuli. Honorable Speaker, I move that this House support such good initiatives and wish all those involved the best in achieving their goals. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion. Agreed to?
Malibonga. Agreed.
So agreed. Honorable Sidibe.
I've not raised my hand. Honorable Speaker, I think it's an old hand.
Notices of motion. Are there notices of motion? Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, I rise to give notice of a motion on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus. The Freedom Front Plus notices with concern that despite a pending land claim on the Manyaleti Game Reserve that has been dragging since 1998, The Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency has granted a concession to a well-known tenderpreneur, Oswald Mashaba, who owns AM Lodge, in June this year. This was done without the approval or knowledge of the land claimants, as the Freedom Front Plus had seen official correspondence from the land claimants' lawyer stating that they were not known in this tender or process. This was done against the wishes of the legal director of the Office of the Regional Land Claims Commissioner in Mpumalanga, Advocate Kabelo Matsane, who in an email to the MTPA asked them to kindly pause. Management has been finalized, and that engaging in long-term contract discussions may hinder our process in the finalization of this land claim. The Freedom Front Plus moves that this House investigates as to why the Reserve Liaison Committee between the MTPA, the land claimants and the current concessionaires had not been formed by the MTPA, and to further investigate why the tender was granted without engaging the legitimate CPAs on the matter, and under who move.
The motion is noted and will be dealt with accordingly. Are there notices of motions? Formal motions. Honorable members, there is a motion standing on the order paper in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable F.V. Mlombo. I also have a speaker's list in front of me. Now, I will call upon the Honorable F.V. Mlombo. Honorable Mlombo, you are given 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet you again. Greet the Honorable Premier and say all protocol observed, because I did the salutation earlier. Honorable Speaker, I am grateful to lead the debate and be given the opportunity and privilege to lead the debate on this most relevant and important question. Today, Honorable Speaker, we are making history as the people of Mpumalanga because we are engaging on a debate about the most vulnerable section in our society. This section are the farm workers and the farm dwellers. The ANC defines this section in our document that is called the Strategy and Tactics. We define this section of our society as the primary motive force of the National Democratic Revolution, precisely because they are the drivers of change, they carry the burden of society, they are the locomotives for change. They have nothing to lose, but they stand to gain from the success of the revolution. And over decades and centuries, this section of our society has proven beyond any reasonable doubt that they are a reliable force to take the revolution to its logical conclusion. Philosophers across the world do recognize this section of our society, and they have most of them agreed that the success of any revolution should in fact be measured by the improvement on the conditions of this most vulnerable section of our society. In our case, Honorable Speaker, as Mpumalanga and South Africa, this section consists of the farm workers and farm dwellers. It consists of the domestic workers. It consists of those workers who work in the security industry. It consists of the old and the people living with disability. And it consists of the millions of the people across the world who are unemployed. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, that as the ANC, we approach this debate with open mind. We approach this debate with objectivity and with keen interest to embrace differing views and ideas. We do this because we are guided by our desire to build a national democratic society which is anchored in our vision to build a truly non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. This defining vision is well enshrined in one of our founding documents, the Freedom Charter, which states as follows, I quote, open quote, we, and I'm quoting this part of the Freedom Charter deliberately, so as to demonstrate the willingness of the ANC to reach out to the white community and break them and allow them to come and work with us to change the living and working conditions of the most vulnerable, which is the farm workers. So I open quote, Honorable Speaker. We, the people of South Africa, declare for all our country and the world to know that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white, and that no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people, that our people have been robbed of their birthright to liberty, to land, and peace by a form of government founded on injustice and inequality, that our country will never be prosperous or free until all our people live in brotherhood, enjoying equal rights and opportunities, that only a democratic state based on the will of the people can secure to all our people their birthright without distinction of color, race, sex, or belief. And therefore, we, the people of South Africa, black and white, together equals, countrymen and brothers, adopt this Freedom Charter, and we pledge ourselves to strive together, sparing neither strength and courage until the democratic changes here set out have been won. I close quote. Honorable Speaker, it is this solemn pledge and vision that propels us to believe that even today, black and white can still live together in peace, that one day the farm dweller and farm workers will enjoy freedom and justice, that one day the farm owners and farm workers will be able to sit together in a table of brotherhood, that one day the children of former slaves and children of former slave owners will be able to sit together as sisters and brothers, that we will live in a nation where the children of farm workers will not be judged by the color of their skin, but their character. It is, however, regrettable, Honorable Speaker, that as we speak, the present situation in the country and the objective reality in our country, especially at the Mkondo municipality, indicates that after nearly 3 decades of democracy, it indicates that despite the progressive laws and labor legislation that has been introduced, it indicates that despite all the oversight bodies that have been formed, it indicates that despite all the democratic institutions that have been created, despite all the Chapter 9 institutions that have been formed to guard democracy, farm workers and farm dwellers are still strapped in the apartheid era. Farm workers still work and live under conditions of slavery. Farm workers are permanently subjected to conditions worse than those of animals. Farm workers are treated like hewers of wood and drawers of water in the land of their forefathers, in the land of their birth. The brutal shooting and murder of the Coca brothers in the Mkondo municipality marked a turning point in the history of the agrarian revolution in South Africa in pursuit of addressing the land question, which as the ANC, we call it as the original sin. For many years, Honorable Speaker, in the area of Mkondo, people living and working in farms have lived and worked like slaves. They were denied their basic rights. They were denied their freedom. They were denied their rights of human dignity. They were denied their right of cultural freedoms. We have been, as the African National Congress, we have been participating in the case involving the two Coca brothers at Pampun Farm. Through this case, Honorable Speaker, we have learned of many heartbreaking cases of brutalities, abuses, killings, atrocities against the vulnerable farm workers and farm dwellers at Mkondo. Lest did we know, Honorable Speaker, that the Pampun farm is a real killing field.
Honorable Chief Whip, can you please take your seat? Honorable Weber, what is the point of order?
Use this one.
Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order. I want to draw your attention to Rule 38 of the Rules on Orders, which reads, a member may not deliberately mislead the House. Honourable Mlombo has done just that by deliberately and intentionally misleading the House by making a statement, and as put in the document that we've received, that heartless farmers had killed the Coca brothers at Pampunkral, knowing full well that the Pampunkral case is still pending finalization and investigation, and no factual verdict or sentencing had been handed down by the court, and no person had been found guilty by a court of law as yet. In fact, the defense provided CCTV footage that contradicts the state's witnesses. Even the state's investigation officer had to admit that some of the witnesses were telling blatant lies. Honourable Lawmob decided to put only the version of the state witnesses, which indicates that white farmers had killed the two Coca brothers. State witnesses and Honourable Lombo intentionally disregards the contention of the defence's version that one of the Coca brothers had in fact been shot and killed by his own brother. Then, Madam Speaker, please have a look at Rule 53, which reads, a member may not.
Honourable
Point of order.
You are now entering the debate.
Can I draw your attention to Rule 53, please?
You have raised.
Can I read the Rule 53? A member may not, while addressing the legislature or during the proceedings of any of its committees, reflect on any matter on which the judicial decision is pending.
Point of order.
The
Speaker.
Coker case, the
Order.
Coker brothers case is a case
There's a point
on
of
which
order,
the
Honourable
judicial
Speaker.
is still pending.
From which one?
Therefore, Madam Speaker, we can't continue with this
Speaker,
debate.
there's a point of order from the virtual side.
Madam Speaker, we can't continue with this
Honorable Weber, can you please take a seat?
Thank you,
So I take my
Honorable
seat.
Speaker.
Can you
I
please
think,
take a seat?
Honorable, take your seat, Honorable.
I've noted another point of order again. Honorable Sidibe.
Yeah, I think Honorable Weber
Honorable Speaker, you can take another point of order on top of another point of order. One member completes their point of order, the Speaker makes a ruling, and another member is allowed a point of order. Can we follow the rules, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, as noted, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Weber is now entering the debate. If he has got issues to raise around the issue, the motion as raised by the Honorable Mlombo, he must wait for his turn and he can debate there, because he's now trying to defend the white racist farmers who are busy killing our people. Can he sit down and he will debate everything when his time comes? It's part of the list that will debate there.
Yeah.
Honorable members, I am now making a ruling on the matter. I will defer this matter for the next sitting. I will make the ruling on the next sitting on this matter. You can conclude, Honorable Mlombo. You have less than 30 seconds.
Honorable Speaker, let me use the less than 30 seconds because I have made my point. It's about the issues that are taking place in the area of Mkondo. It's about the brutality that is meted against the farm workers and farm dwellers. But what is to be done? How do we correct these injustices? We proposed as the ANC that one of them must be the enforcement of the Extension of Security of Tenure Act, which regulates the relationship between those who own the land and those who work and reside on the land. This act, Honorable Speaker, places substantive rights and responsibilities on both parties. The Act further provides instruments to enable government to provide long-term security of tenure and those who live in farms but do not own the land. We call on the House to make a pledge to the full implementation and enforcement of this Act in all farms in Mpumalanga. The second way forward that we're coming with is the radicalization of the implementation of the finalization of the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution, which will allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. We are aware that the Joint Constitutional Review Committee has finalized its proposals, and we request Parliament to fast-track this matter. The last one is that there was a unit in the office of the Honourable Premier that dealt with the issue of farm workers and farm dwellers. The purpose of that unit was to sort of build a conducive environment for the operation of both farm workers and farm dwellers in the farms. We urge the Honourable Premier to reconsider reopening that unit in her office so that it can deal with the issues affecting farm workers and farm dwellers. We therefore commit as honourable members, as members of the provincial legislature, that we are going to do our oversight responsibility to ensure that each and every institution and each and every government department does play their part in order to ensure that farm workers and farm dwellers are protected. I thank you. I thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
Honourable Sidibe, you are given 5 minutes.
That's progressive, Honorable Mlombo. That what you call must be fast track. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sidibe, we can't hear you. Can you come closer to the mic?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. The EFF will not rest until the lives and dignity of farm workers and dwellers are equal to the rest of the other communities. The EFF is a party formed by domestic workers, farming communities, unemployed, security guards, petrol attendants, and all other marginalized groups or formations. The recent killings of Toga brothers at Pampun Farm by white racist farmers demonstrated arrogance and brutality against black people. The farm dwellers and workers' lives live in fear of their employers because the perpetrator.
Honorable Sidibe, can you please take your seat and allow Honorable Weber to raise the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, reference is made to a case that is still pending, and Rule 53 forbids that. We must stick to the rules, please, Madam Speaker.
The farm dwellers and workers live in fear of their employers because the perpetrators of this horrendous crime afford best lawyers. And AfriForum is at the center of this, the racist AfriForum. And this results in them getting paid, going away with the crimes. The EFF believes white farmers do not recognize blacks as human beings. Hence, the killings continue without any valid provocations from the blacks. Even when communities demonstrate in courts or outside courts, the state continues to grant pay to these racist farmers like they did in Piet Retief for the murderers of the Toga brothers with legally stringent conditions such that it will make other potential perpetrators to consider the Black Lives Matter. As the EFF, that's why today I will agree for the first time with Honorable Mlombo that we must push for the Parliament to fast-track the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution to allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. Because only if people are owning land, only if the land is in the hand of the people, all this horrendous crime and racist attacks against black will come to an end. Because people will be working the land on their own and will be owning the means of production, not to be slaves as it happened. We can't have black people being slaves 25 years into democracy. This must come to an end. And any person or farmer that is involved in a racist killing of the farm dwellers and farm workers must be sentenced to life. That's why as the EFF, we call on racism to be criminalized. Anyone who gets involved in an act of racism must be sentenced to a life sentence because enough is enough. When the criminals kills the farmers in doing burglars and so forth, it is the state that stand up and protect and arrest those people. And it is this group of white racist farmers who still operate as commandos, who attack any innocent person they find in the street without having committed crime and kill them and throw them in the rivers, feed them to crocodiles and so forth. That must come to an end. White racism must come to an end. I thank you.
Honorable Sitole, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have actually made a plan so that I can switch on the video so that you can see me. Honorable Speaker, the Democratic Alliance welcomes this debate as it is long overdue, particularly in our province. Before I get into the debate itself, let me remind this House that in June 2015, just before local government elections of 2016, the Mpumalanga provincial government established a commission of inquiry to investigate the report of living conditions of farm dwellers. And I quote, "It will be the duty of this commission to identify critical areas requiring our intervention, including but not limited to issues related to the protection of human rights, safety, security of tenure, employment, and their living conditions." Honorable Speaker, it is the Honorable Didi Mabuza that said that at that time. He further said that the recommendations will be used to identify the interventions required by the province to address the livelihoods and living conditions of these rural families. Guess what happened since then, Honorable Speaker? Nothing. A whopping 10 million was set aside to remunerate members of that commission of that inquiry in 2015. They earned the money, they left, and no action was taken. Their report was completed in March 2016, and it is probably gathering dust somewhere in these buildings of the legislature. Today, the very same government want to pretend as if they care about the...
Especially this weekend, when it's farmers. The side of Nkomas is going to be...
Okay. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, can you please mute our mics?
So the operation here around afternoon. So
administration, can you please assist us to mute all the people who are speaking?
To shift the time. It's busy, but not the way we anticipated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for that. Today, this...
Honorable Sitole, you can continue, but you must be closer to your mic because we can't hear you now.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, let me do this. I will do this so that I can get closer to the mic. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Today, the very same government want to pretend as if they care about the brutal killings of our farmers, farm dwellers and farm workers. Because again, local government elections is approaching and they have narrow political gain. They are using the death of the Toga brothers and may their souls continue to rest in peace, to divide the community of Mkondo, to fuel racial tensions, and to mobilize for the elections on the basis of racial hatred. For far too long, the outcry and the abuses, torture, brutalities, and killings of farmers, farm workers, and farm dwellers in the province, especially in the area of Mkondo municipality, has not been addressed because this government is not interested in addressing this issue. They are only interested in grandstanding to fuel racial hatred. These commissions of inquiry established by the ruling party just before every election are not meant to address these issues, Honorable Speaker. They are merely public relation exercises designed to address this issue. Honorable Speaker, may I remind this House that it was this government that stopped the rural safety units that used to protect our farming communities. It is this government that stopped all farm patrols during lockdown and farm killings soared, including the killing of the Koga brothers. And today you want the people of Mpumalanga to believe that you actually care about the killing of farmers, farm dwellers, and farm workers in this province. Please, it is a fact that this House does not care and this government does not care that our farming communities are under attack. The people of Mpumalanga, especially the people of Mkondo, are sick and tired of commissions of inquiry and grand speeches by politicians on podiums like this. The people want solutions. Farmers, farm dwellers, and farm workers live in fear in Mpumalanga, especially in the areas of Mkondo. If this government continues to turn a blind eye to the plight of farmers, farm dwellers, and farm workers and their families who are often brutally murdered, know that their blood is in your hands. Honorable Speaker, the DA is for fairness. The DA is for the rule of law, and justice must prevail in all farm murders, including that of the Koga brothers. One life lost is one too many. Stop grandstanding and address the issue of the brutal killings of farmers, farm dwellers, and farm workers. Stop mobilizing on the basis of racial hatred. Stop sowing divisions amongst our people. Stop spitting venom hatred.
Conclude, Honorable Member. You have less than a minute.
Stop pretending that you want to address this issue because you know very well you don't want to address it. Speaker, I was disrupted by that mic that was not muted, and that took my minutes. How many more farmers, farm workers, and farm dwellers must be killed before this government stop the race baiting and realize that these people leave families reeling behind? From Dipalesen to Mbombela to Emakazeni to Mkondo, wake up and smell the blood of farmers, farm dwellers, and farm workers across the province. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, I actually find it shocking that today some solutions are tabled. I don't know, because this should have happened long time ago. It is shocking that even after Agri SA, Christopher Nderida appealed to the Deputy President Mabuza to facilitate a meeting between the farmers and the community of Mkondo to reduce racial tensions. This did not happen to prove that you don't.
Your time is up, Honorable Member.
In addressing this issue, bring back the rural safety units to protect our farming communities. Time for action. Time for grand speeches is no more. The people of Mpumalanga, especially the people of Mkondo.
I will now call upon the Honorable Msibi. You are given 5 minutes.
Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Progressive, Honorable Stolle, progressive.
Thank you, Honorable Sidibe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, we're gathered here today to speak about the sort of societal atrocities that we were not supposed to be talking about 27 years into our democracy. the governing party, the ANC, measures its success using the template of the poor and working class, the blacks in general and Africans in particular. These are also attributes of the farm workers and farm dwellers, mostly are from poor and working class backgrounds and are black in general and African in particular. Therefore, a decline in the quality of lives lived of farm workers is in that every South African is assured and guaranteed basic human rights, and this includes of the province. It is intolerable, disgusting, and disgusting to know that there are continue to work among the farm workers and that the rule of law has not done sufficient to see prosecution in most of these racist farmers. Madam Speaker, perhaps the biggest the driver to such a treatment of farm workers by farmers is because of the land ownership demographics across the province. 67% of the land in Mpumalanga is white-owned, and that itself is a picture of misrepresentation. It is inevitable, Madam Speaker, that the owners of the huge portion of the land in the province will become a law unto themselves. Some of the whites that own 67 minimize the abuse, torture, and killing of farm workers, the constitution which gives governments sufficient room to address land reform. The proposed expropriation without compensation bill is most welcome if it cracks, it shall deal not only with the tip of the iceberg of white supremacy ideology to land ownership, but with the racist museum that historically unjust acquired land brings to the owner. Cases like the one witnessed earlier this year in Mkondo can manage and put to hold if we can collectively invest our energies and put to rest the land question. Central to the atrocities witnessed by farm dwellers and farm workers is the failure to address the land question. To sit and continually debate and argue about people's livelihood while people are being abused, tortured, and murdered is not to address the land question. A sense of urgency will assist us thoroughly and permanently deal with the land question in a way that will benefit the poor and the working class. Before we conclude, Madam Speaker, I would like to remind the House that white South Africans a few years ago crisscrossed the world trying to lobby it to recognize a genocide against white farmers. Yes, farmers got killed and still get killed in their farms, but that wasn't a genocide. Also, the farmers mistreat their workers and forget that their workers are the first line of defense. The very same farm dwellers and farm workers will provide a buffer of protection against marauding elements. They will risk their life for their employer only and only if their employer treats them fairly and they can risk their lives for them. The task to ultimately crush all forms of abuses experienced by farm workers and dwellers is everyone's responsibility. They are the weak and vulnerable of society, and thus should be protected at all costs against all forms of exploitation and abuses. Madam Speaker, Mahatma Gandhi once said, I quote, "The true measure of any society can be found in our farm workers and dwellers across the province. May our efforts not be reduced to just sitting here and talking resolution. May we implement programs aimed at collapsing the remnants of the racist ivory tower as it stands in various farms across the province." I thank you very much.
Progressive.
Honorable Nyembe, 3 minutes.
67% of land are still in the hands of whites. That's rubbish. We must reclaim our land.
Ngibonge ithuba somlomo. Ngiyathemba okwesithathu ngimala ngale ndaba yokuhlukunyezwa kwabantu basemaplazini eGertsibande yonke. Kodwa ngingathathelwa kopdu. Honorable Speaker, the governing party, the ANC, were given all power and resources in 1994 to change the situation of farm workers and farm dwellers, but they chose to protect the perpetrators in whatever form. Today, they are grandstanding in a form of a debate in this August House as if they care, while they are using this as their campaigning tool. Nevertheless, Honorable Speaker, if the ruling party could look backwards at what they were given, which is power, and look inward at what do they have, which was resources in the form of tax, and look outward at what they are supposed to do, which is change the status of Section 25 of the Constitution we wouldn't be debating this issue at this time and age. Honorable Speaker, the former liberation movement does not welcome radical shifts. Instead, they are obsessed with protecting the interest of the whites at the expense of their own. Ngikusho ngingananazi ukuthi colonization has killed our love for one another. As the economic freedom fighters, we have the solution to this matter. Number one, expropriate South African land without compensation for equal redistribution. Number two, promote the practice of organic forces of the political leadership, which appreciates that political leadership at whatever level is service, not an opportunity for self-enrichment and self-gratification. Number three, limit foreign ownership to protect the South African sovereignty. Sengoqa somlomo. Yazi kubuhlungu ukuzenza ivictim. Ekubena amandla wonke akuwe uhlulwe kubasebenzisa ngoba you've signed a devil pact. Niklima on behalf of abantu abamnyama maniqeda nirentise lawo ma-farms the same whites abahlukumeza abantu abamnyama ngoba nifuna ukubenefit.
Conclude, honorable member. You have less than 30 seconds.
Sengiyabonga somlomo ngiqedile ukubeka ipoint lami.
Honorable Grobler, 3 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I think Honorable Nyembe must correct the statement that the government has signed the
Honorable Shonge, that was a debate speech. You don't have to say anything about it.
Honorable members.
Shonge.
Honorable Shonge, Honorable Mkabela. Honorable Mkabela, can you please be orderly? Honorable Grobler. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and greetings to the House. Honorable Speaker, ek dink is belangrik dat ons nie in hierdie huise onderskeid tref tussen moord en aanvalle op boere, plaasbewoners of plaaswerkers nie. Moord is moord en 'n aanval is aanval. Maak nie saak wat jou ras, jou geslag of jou sosio-ekonomiese toestand is nie. Kom ons bly by die beginsel van ons almal word dieselfde hanteer. Eerware voorsitter, die laaste kwartaalverslag wat deur die minister van Polisie Bekkie Cele vrygestel is, daai aan dat daar op plase en op klein hoewes van 1 April 2021 tot 30 Junie 2021 181 aanvalle was. En hierdie aanvalle het 15 moorde tot gevolg gehad. Daar is verder 47 ander aanvalle, of 47 meer aanvalle as ons dit vergelyk met die vorige jaar in dieselfde kwartaal. Ek dink ons kan dit eens wees dat polisieering op die grond daar moet wees, dat daar eenhede is, of eenhede daar gestel moet word, wat spesialiseer om ons landelike gebiede vir boere, plaaswerkers en plaasbewoners te beveilig. After the death of the two brothers in Kondo, farmers and the communities called on the Deputy President, David Mabuza, to help ease the tensions in the community. The Deputy President, however, felt it more important to have a trip to Russia. And if he was that sick, he also didn't find it very important to appoint somebody else to go and ease the tensions. Nobody from the provincial government or the national government to date has made any attempts to resolve.
There is a point of order, Honorable Grobler. Can you please take a seat?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I respect member to have a debate in this occasion, but it will be unfortunately to insinuate that the trip of the Deputy President to Russia was of his own accord.
The point stands, Speaker. He didn't appoint anybody else to ease the tensions of that community. So if he didn't find it important...
Honorable Krobler, I said you must take your seat and allow the point of order.
It is well.
Honorable Msibi, can you please hear your point of order?
It is not well known that the Deputy President went to Russia out of his health condition. And it's recorded.
You can't tell us what to say in our speeches, Honorable Msibi. You're wasting time. You can't tell...
Honorable Sithole, you must not interrupt another member.
You're wasting our time.
Honorable Msibi, can you please continue?
Concluded that the reason for the Russia is out of health condition, not decide to take a trip to Russia. So the member must retract that statement.
He did take a trip to Russia.
Yeah. Thank you, Speaker. The point stands that the Deputy President didn't appoint anybody else to resolve the tensions in this community. Yet now that we see the municipal elections coming up, now it's important for this government to address this issue. Speaker, as many times before, we see again the driving of the wedge between races, and it's typical now of the ANC to bring up this. Honourable Mlombo, as the Chief Whip, you say that there's a document called the Strategy and Tactics of the Revolution, and you use all these revolutionary words. But my question to you is, why didn't you address this 3 or 4 years ago already when you started to be a member of the legislature?
Honourable member, conclude in less than 30 seconds.
We want to come and do this. The leader of government business says that it's important to resolve these issues. Yet there's so many question marks around this specific incidents, this specific area that we're speaking to, the leader of government with the government business, with the Guptas wanting to own those land. Speaker, there's so many question marks around this whole incident. And I just think as a government, we are not responsible in mending relationships between people. But now, at this moment, we can see the ANC driving a wedge between races.
Your time is up, Honourable Member.
The local government elections coming up.
Honourable Weber, you are given 3 minutes.
Yekelani campaign on the basis of racial hatred. Licwele ukuzondana. Tulani. Order. Hey, you think hating white people will make you better? Order.
Yeah, he's raising a wedge.
That's the only thing they have.
Honourable members, can you please respect the rules of the House?
Especially when ukhulumayo corrupt.
I did not recognize you to speak on the visual platform. Who's speaking there? Honourable Mkhabela.
Ufila njani bethu ngotshontshela abantu abahluphekile? Ufila njani? Ngoba abanakudla. Udla nengane zakho.
Honourable members. Honourable Sithole, no.
Mina ngizomshaya mina ngimphonsele azakho fika.
Honourable Sithole and Honourable Shongwe. Can you please be orderly?
Tell the ANC
and observe the rules and orders of this House. Can I allow Honourable Waba to continue? 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, I have high respect for you as a person and as a speaker. I have a good relationship with you and you know it. But today I must criticize you. The whole basis for this whole debate was the Mkondo case of the Coker brothers, a case that is still pending in court. There has been no judgment on that. And Rule 53 says a member may not, while addressing the legislature or during the proceedings of any of its committees, reflect on any matter on which a judicial decision is pending. This has been allowed. This rule has been broken today, Madam Speaker. The members that referred to this case were not called to order. And I criticize you for that. And therefore, on this basis, I cannot participate in this debate. I thank you.
Honourable Shongwe, 5 minutes. Honorable VR Shongwe.
There's no sound. We want to hear those members spitting that hatred that they've got in their hearts.
Honorable Sitole, I did not recognize you. Honorable VR Shongwe.
Hate most are the people that
5 minutes.
Sabotage. No sound.
There's nothing there.
Where's the sound? They must continue to spit the hatred out.
I think they put the DA members in a room.
Administration, can you please try to assist us to trace Honorable VR Shongwe?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't trust
We're
you.
waiting patiently as members of the legislature for the sound to be back.
Okay. Hey, we thought it's only DA that you've just put on hold.
Ah.
Honorable Speaker, can you hear? Can you hear us?
Yes, Honorable Shongwe, you can debate. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah, I can hear you as well, Honorable DA. But I can't hear the speaker.
We are muted deliberately.
Is it? Why?
Why is that? There's smackdown, Vincent.
Honorable Shongwe, you are given the opportunity to debate. You have 5 minutes. Can you please start? Honorable members.
So now we are no longer part of the process.
Honorable members, your conduct is not allowed.
It looks like we are on.
You continuously interrupting another member.
Hello.
There I could.
Hayi kumba abafazi bajijelana ngenyanga yabomama. So lesinoshokwe. Kunokuthi umama sokhuluma noma sidiva ngama political parties but asifuniseli manje.
Oya basi.
Yeah, no, hey.
Ngiyamfuna lo ngimfuna ngaphandle futhi. Okay, I'm quiet.
Singabonana ngaphandle asisitudla. Ngabonana ngaphandle.
Ngabonana la.
Ngikoyayo la.
Siyobonana somama ku-platform e-right sikhulumisane.
After school is after school la. Moya phansi.
Kuro afternoon after school.
Ngisafuna after school.
Ikho ngiyacela bafazi. Moya phansi.
Hayi sikuru singaka madoda.
Seni kangaka.
Akulaleki.
Honorable Shongwe.
Leader of government maphela.
No, mina, I'm here. I'm here.
Bamtshelile ngiyabona
manje bomama bangakwata kurong.
Hayi inkinga make ila Morocco.
Yastogoqa la Morocco sesistolwa manje. Bangazivaleli ngaphandle.
Abantu bazathini babona.
Honorable members.
But I can't.
Honorable members. Honorable members, can you hear me?
Honorable Speaker, but the administration has the access to mute every microphone. Can the administration assist us?
members that they can't hear us from the virtual platform.
But the procedure of the House is, I can't speak until such time the presiding officer, which is the Speaker, have allowed me to speak.
That is true, Honorable Leader. It's true, Leader of Government. Just relax. Wait for instructions from the Speaker.
Thank you.
Honorable Shongwe.
But the meeting proceeds without us.
Honorable Shongwe, can you hear me?
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Now I can hear you, Honorable Speaker.
You are given 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me take this opportunity and greet the Speaker. Ngibingelele uPremier, ngibingelele ma-executive members, ngibingelele abahlonishwa bendlu yesishayamthetho kanye nama-officials. Honorable Speaker, kuyinjabulo enkulu ukuthi nami ngibambe iqhaza kule debate namhlanje ebaluleke kangaka ekhuluma ngokuhlupheka nangokuhlukumezeka kwabantu basemaplazini okakhulukazi abasebenzi kanye nabahlali. Kubaluleke kakhulu, Honorable Speaker, listening to what members have contributed insofar as this debate is concerned. To remind honorable members, all of them, irrespective of the political parties, that all of us here, we have different constituencies, PCOs, around the province. And one of the responsibility of those PCOs is for us to be able to serve our communities around those particular areas. How many of us here debating about the plight yabantu basemaplazini abahluphekayo esike sabavakashela? And okubalulekile somlomo, uma sikhuluma namhlanje sikhuluma ngendaba yasemkhondo. Sekungeneke abanye abosomapolitiki kanye nemedia kanye neopposition sebafuna ukusiluzisa ifocus ngokuthi bakhulume ngendaba ye-mining yasemabola in order for us to lose the focus ngeplight yasemkhondo. It is a known factor that iGertsbande in general, in terms of racism, ihamba phambili in the province kanye nenkangala. Manje asikho isidingo sokuthi thina singabahlonishwa size la sigcoke abasudi nabothayi, singabasebenzeli abantu bakithi, singabasizi ngalutho, sizopoliticize le matter neplight yabantu basemaplazini nokuhlupheka kwasemaplazini. Kukangakhi sibabona abantu basemaplazini phambi kwethu kusakhona bo-Mason ebebavalela ama-member e-legislature ngeketanga ukuthi bangangene eplazini bashaya bahlukumeza abantu bakithi in the area of Lothe. How many of us sitting here today have contributed ukusiza abantu bakithi laphayana? Siyakhuluma nje uma silapha sipolitike sisho yonke into engeke isize abantu bakithi at the end of the day. Namhlanje bayakhuluma abanye bathi i-leader of government business ifuna umhlaba emkhondo, i-leader of government business ine-interest in this and this. Babalekela leqiniso uchief whip akhuluma ngalo lalapha ya. Asikhulume namaqiniso. Siyekele ukuzama ukuvika ngesithupha sibe inkinga siyibona singabahlonishwa. Sinamandla nawo wonke umsebenzi wokuthi sishaye imithetho ezosiza labantu bakithi lemaplazini. Embaba kungasikudala bekuyicrisis khona manje yasembaba, abantu bakithi bahlupheka laphayana ngendaba yokuthi bahlushwa ngabamhlophe laphayana. Ayikho into esike sayikhuluma sayenza except ukuthi kwasukuma certain members of the legislature bayiphakamisa leyo ndaba, kwaba khona i-Department of Agriculture kwenzako nokuthi sigcoka bothayi sigqoke amasudi sigqoke kahle size eParliament sizokhuluma akukho nakanye la siya khona kule yanhlupheko yalabantu bakithi emaplazini abahlala lapha emaplazini abahluphekayo ngifuna ukusho ukuthi kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi sazi ukuthi labantu bakithi basemaplazini basahlupheka namhlanje ngisho ukuyongcwaba emaplazini la basebenza khona bahlala khona abanye bahluleka ngisho ukuyovakashela amathuna ogogo babo lapha emaplazini sikhona sinama constituency offices around the province as all political parties but none of us esike siye in the neighboring areas of those PCOs siyosiza bakithi abantu abakithi abahlupheka lapha and kubalulekile ukuthi singaqali sibalungu esishaya umthetho singamalunga e-provincial government sicreate umoya wokuhlukanisa phakathi.
You have less than 30 minutes. Can you please conclude? 30 seconds, sorry.
Bengithi 30 minutes chair. Ukuvala le mpikiswano kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi uma sithola le platform yase legislature sisebenzise sibe futhi practically sibe sibasiza labantu bakithi singayisebenzisi ukuskora ma cheap political points. Ngiyabonga Somlomo.
Like the ruling party is doing today.
Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion as tabled by Honorable F.V. Mlombo. Agreed to?
Agreed.
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 And can I check, honorable members, those who say no, they must raise their hands.
What we agreeing to?
It's only Honorable Weber. Those who say yes, they can say it loudly or raise their hands in the virtual platform so that we can see and count.
I mean, I send us Pagamga, I'm low more over Gomanila. Yes.
Those who say yes, they must raise their hands so that we can count.
Okay, yeah, total of Gunalo.
Mute your mic, Honorable Blessing Shom. Mute your mic. We don't want to hear it, Dorizakula.
When I change my answer,
mute your mic. Mute your mic, Honorable MEC.
Speaker.
Now you are not the speaker, and you'll never be again.
Thank you very much, honorable members. The motion is agreed to because majority voted in favor. The secretary shall read the first order of the day.
Order number 1, questions for oral reply to the Honorable Premier.
I have a question paper in front of me with questions for oral reply to the Premier. I am informed that the question paper was duly circulated to all members of the legislature. We'll now proceed to questions for oral reply. The Honorable Premier, over to you. Honorable Premier, can you please unmute? We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, am I still muted? I was saying greeting to yourself, Honorable Speaker, the Chief Whip of the ruling party, the Deputy Chief Whip, the members of the executive, the leaders of the opposition parties, and the members of the legislature, and all the officials led by the acting DG, Ubabunyoni. Honorable Speaker, we have been requested to come and give account in a form of oral response to the questions that have been set before us by members of the legislature. Now, I will just zoom in straight to the question that has been asked by the member of EFF, which is Honorable NG Nyembe. The question reads, with reference to the State of the Province address dated the 5th of March 2021, in this House, in paragraph 148 of the statement, the Honorable Premier made mention of the following. We are delighted to also announce that Utaga Energy will commence work on developing an underground coal mine in the Wackerstroom area with the Dr. Pixliga Isakaseme local municipality. This project shall create 576 job opportunities for the people in the surrounding communities. The subtending shall be done on the 24th of March 2021. The question that has been asked following the statement was, why was such a project not reflected from the municipality's IDP as presented in the public and the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs documents? In response, Honorable Speaker, I want to indicate that at the time of delivering the State of the Province address, Utaga Energy had been provisionally granted a permit to continue and complete all the necessary requirements of opening a mine in Wackerstroom. Based on their projections, the mine would have started operating this year. It was only towards the end of March this year when the mining project was put in abeyance following a court interdict brought by a coalition of civil societies organizations who were concerned about the possible environmental impact of mining in the area. The IDPs of municipalities and the departmental plans report on projects that have gone through all stages of approvals and are ready to be implemented. The municipality's IDP would have reflected the mining operations in their 2021-2022 financial year plans. Why is the Provincial Department of Economic Development and Tourism not mentioning such a project in its plan? This question, Honourable Speaker, based on the response that I have given, it falls away. The next question is, why is the National Minister of Mineral Resources, Mr. Kwete Mantashe, not mentioning the very same project, and why is the Garsebande District Economic Recovery Plan not mentioning the activity in its jurisdiction? And again, Honourable Speaker, the question falls away. Question number 4. Does the Honourable Premier find it in her responsibilities correct to mislead the people of the province about the matter, as it is on record still under sub judice and holding no possible prospects of success? Honourable Speaker, in response, at the time when I delivered the State of the Province address earlier this year, this matter had not been subject to litigation in the form of interdict. Suggestions that I misled the people of Mpumalanga are preposterous and devoid of any truth. The last question is, what is the relationship of the Honourable Premier with the likes of Mr. Thabiso Nene, who happened to be the owner of the NPO called The Voice in the same municipality? Honourable Speaker, I've got absolutely or whatsoever relationship, be it in my personal capacity and as well as in my capacity as the Premier, with the aforementioned person. I've never met him. Thank you very much.
Honourable Nyembe, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Premier, I've got one question. Is this mine going to materialize? And what happens to the 574 job that you promised the people if it's not materializing? Thank you.
Honorable Premier.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think according to our wish and given the economic situation of our province, and also to ensure that our people does get opportunities for work, it is in the best interest of the province to get this mine on the go. But unfortunately, as I have indicated, we have been taken to court due to environmental impacts and aspects thereof, the matter. Hence, it makes it impossible until the matter is ventilated before the court. There's absolutely nothing at this point in time that we can do. But however, we remain determined and resolute in our decision to say that this mine must be operationalized. The sooner, the better these matters are resolved as they are before the court, so that it grants our people an opportunity to be employable. And as a result of that, there is an economic injection in the province. So we are hoping that we will have this matter sorted. And I must also indicate that this matter has been dragging back and forth for quite some time. It begs that, and we would appreciate that, it begs that as far as 2009 is concerned, when the proclamation was made for a protected environment by MTPA. And subsequent to that, the environmental authorization was given by the MEC at that time, and subject in line with Section 48, a permit to mine in that area was issued by the minister, which then, afterwards, there was a civil society that put in a litigation against those, which is the CER. It has appealed, and the appeal was granted. It was ruled in their favor. So the matter was then re-looked at, and the basis of that was that the budget, in terms of the public participation, has not been undergone fully. So those were the basis for the appeal being upheld. Now, subject to that, the then former MEC resuscitated in terms of separating the portions of farms that can be utilized for mining purposes, which then the proclamation of 5 years fell out within the previous few years, which then necessitated the granting of yet the license to the very same people to mine in the very same area. Hence, we are back again in court to fight the interdict that is before the court. Thank you.
Are there follow-up questions from other members? Honorable Premier, can you proceed to the next question?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The next question is from Honorable T.M. Makaringe from the ANC.
Sorry, Honorable Premier.
Yes.
I have received an apology from Honorable Makaringe, and Honorable Mlombo will stand for him. Then you can proceed, Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The question reads, the extent in which people participate in the economy is closely related to their living standard. The commitment of the Youth Development Fund is appreciated. The recent Stats South Africa Quarterly Labour Force Survey reveals some shocking statistics on unemployment rates, especially amongst the youth. On the basis of the above, Can the Premier shed some light on how this initiative is publicized to ensure that young people express interest across the province? In response, Honourable Speaker, the Office of the Premier has maximized communication and access to the initiative by utilizing both print and social media in order to ensure that all young people across the length and breadth of the province are able to participate in this initiative. 2 sets of applications calls were made on Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund, which had the following closing dates. The first one, the advert closed on the 23rd of December 2020, and the second one, the advert closed on the 8th of April 2021. The Office of the Premier then received a total of 757 applications, with the most applicants coming from Ehlanzeni districts, which were 404, which constitutes about 53%, followed by Nkangala district at 194, which constitute about 26%, and the list from Garsibande district, the applicants are 159, which constitutes about 21%. Furthermore, the Office of the Premier continuously engaging the young people on the development of this initiative through our radio slots and across social media platforms. The next question, to what extent has this initiative been aligned to the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan? Due to the unprecedented increase in youth unemployment, Honourable Speaker, as it is reflected in the South African Quarterly Labour Force Survey, the Office of the Premier has aligned the strategic objectives and deliverables of the Youth Development Fund to the South African Economic and Reconstruction Plan, as well as the Mpumalanga Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Plan, in order to accelerate the participation of young people in the mainstream provincial economy. In aligning the Youth Development Fund with the strategic deliverables of the South African Economic and Reconstruction Plan, as well as the Mpumalanga Economic Recovery and Reconstruction Plan, the following factors were developed as key pillars of the strategic deliverables. 1, the selection criteria focused on gender equality and economic inclusion, focusing strictly on youth-owned projects with the prioritization of enterprises owned by women and persons with disabilities. Addressing geographical inequalities which hampers growth and development. Elimination of barriers on or to entry in order to ensure easy access of the Youth Development Fund for youth-owned SMMEs to commence operations, attain sustainable growth, and gradually develop the competitive advantage required in the mainstream economy. And lastly, to ensure that enterprises that receive funding are able to develop job creating capacity. It should be noted, Honourable Speaker, that the Mpumalanga Youth Development Fund will also include the provision of business infrastructure support, financial support through grants, as well as the facilitation of access to markets and technical skills support. The third question, broadly, which sectors of young people SMMEs have responded in taking advantage of this initiative, and what forms of educating or imparting knowledge on sectors that are viable to the economy? In response, out of the 757 received applicants, the sector spread per percentage is as follows. In agriculture, we've received about 53% of the youth that is interested. In manufacturing, there were about 12% of them. Construction is about 8%. Transport and logistics, 6%. ICT and media, 5%. Creative arts, 3%. Tourism, 4%. Events management, 4%. 3%, and others are at 6%. A targeted coaching and monitoring program will be developed as part of the strategy to continue building a sustainable, resilient, and inclusive economy which is responsive to the needs of young people in the province. Furthermore, the Office of the Premier, working with MEGA and the NYDA, will host the MYDF in Indaba around December 2021. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and let's thank the Honourable Premier for a very comprehensive response. My question is, recently, the youth of the province led a protest march to the Office of the Premier, complaining exactly about these issues, but more and above that, they were complaining about the empowering of this unit in terms of employment. So my question is, how far has the Premier gone with regards to responding to this issue, to these issues affecting the Youth Development Fund? Thank you. Especially those that were raised by the youth of this province on that day. Thank you.
Honourable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Indeed, it is true that we had GTOs, a group called GTOs that visited the premises concerned about the alleged employment of an elderly as a youth development manager. And I must indicate that that position has not yet been filled. We are still going to get an advert out. So I don't know where they got it from, that there is somebody who's older than their age who's employed in that unit. That is not the case. Now, the second matter, it's pertaining to them, not necessarily. Well, they are aware that the adverts have gone out, and they were saying that they too, as the young people, they must be considered for the opportunities. And we must see, Honourable Speaker, as I have indicated, we had 2 sets of adverts that ran out insofar as this matter is concerned, and they have since closed, as I have already given an indication as to what is happening, what is their status in that regard. Only the applicants will be considered for opportunities that shall be granted for prospective business opportunities. Anybody else outside the application, the applicants will definitely not be considered, but certainly all the applicants must be given equal opportunity and consideration. Those who got good prospects of potential of having a potentially of increasing on their labor force will be the one that we will pay much more attention to. And I must also indicate, Honourable Speaker, that I have established both the political ties team precisely to look at issues of making sure that there is fairness in this whole process. And there's also geographical spread, and all the deserving applicants are considered for this. Parallel to that, it works with the technical team that is also looking at this matter. So both streams are working very hard to make sure that we get this matter in its logical conclusion without any undue hindrances. Thank you very much.
Are there follow-up questions from other members?
Yes, I have raised my hand, Speaker.
Honourable Sidibe.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I'd like to welcome the progressive move for this Youth Development Fund, and it shows that there's a light at the end of the horizon. My question is to the Premier, when are you anticipating finalizing the processes of dispersing the funds or appointing the qualifying applicants for this project so that they can start?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. We, as I've indicated, that In all honesty, the process of selection has already started. So we are anticipating that before the Indaba that we are having, we shall have concluded on and finalized on the appointment of the prospective initiatives that shall have been selected, and accordingly they shall be published so that they too be given an opportunity to tap into the funding of government. But of course, we are looking at the vehicles that are relevant in this institution insofar as the disbursement is concerned. So the logistical point of view of that, we are also looking at it to say at what point are we dispensing and how are we going to dispense, so that we firm up and tighten up every step of the way insofar as the system is concerned and the processes. Thank you very much.
There's no time.
I have received an apology from Honorable Tabete, and Honorable Hlope will stand for her. Honorable Premier, can you answer the questions?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The question is from Honorable Tabete from ANC. It reads, the Convention of the Right of Persons with Disabilities affords all persons with disabilities the right to education. This right has also been domesticated in our Constitution, Chapter 2, Section 9, which is the Equality Clause. During the 2021 SOPA commitment was made to prepare plans and budgets to build a school for the deaf and blind in Emalkeni. In relation to the above, can the Premier indicate how far is the above-mentioned process to prepare for the construction of the school? Honourable Speaker, I can confirm that the land has already been identified by the municipality and allocated by the municipality of Malahleni along the N4 in Corridor Hill, where there is access to road, easy access to road, and also there are municipal servitude in that area. And we are still firming up the finalization of a turning date with the municipality. And again, the department has already commenced with planning and design of the new site. A budget of 5 million has been set aside to enable this process. Can the Premier indicate whether the provincial government has any data on children who need special care and what is currently happening to those who might not be in school? In response, Speaker, I want to indicate that we do have that data. The province utilizes the data as collected by State South Africa sources and uses this for planning purposes. In instances where learners are already attending school, their information is available on the Provincial Education Department database known as the South African School Administration and Management System. There are different needs for children with disabilities, which requires a wide range of support services ranging from low, medium to high levels of support. As such, the database is constituted by the following categories: learners that are attending public ordinary schools with mild disabilities, learners admitted in public special schools with moderate to severe disabilities, learners who are admitted at special care centers with severe to profound intellectual disabilities registered with the Department of Social Development, receiving learning programs and therapeutic support services. The children that are out of school are supported in the main by NGOs. However, there are ongoing awareness campaigns to mobilize out of school children so that they can be admitted in special care centers and in schools depending on their support needs. The next question, how many schools does the province have which caters for the needs of the disabled children? All learners with mild physical disabilities and other related conditions are admitted in public ordinary schools. There are 18 special schools that cater for moderate to severe intellectual disabilities. These schools cater for learners that require additional levels of support. There are 127 full-service schools that also accommodate learners with moderate needs. The last question: can the Premier shed some light on what plan does the province have to ensure that schools which caters for disabled learners are constructed in all districts within the province to ensure proximity? We currently have special needs schools spread across all districts in our province. Our plans for physical resources are aimed at ensuring universal accessibility for all new schools and upgrading of existing ones so that learners with disabilities can be accommodated in learning facilities close to their homes. The plans for public special schools are guided by data of learners recommended for placement in a district. We are currently implementing upgrades and additions to special schools in the province. These are renovations of existing classrooms and workshops and construction of 4 additional standard classrooms is being undertaken at George Hofmeyer Special School in Lekwa Municipality. The construction of 11 new special classrooms in the Tandukolo Special School in Emalahleni Municipality will begin with planning and design for all facilities at Vaal River Special School in Lekwa Municipality. During phase 1, we will demolish 9 asbestos classrooms, construct 4 standard classrooms and 5 workshops, whilst in phase 2, we will do alterations of boys' boarding school facilities to accommodate 40 girls. These upgrades and additions include, amongst others, the repairs, new ablution facilities, new additional kitchens, workshops, staff residence, offices and classrooms, support staff rooms and boarding facilities. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Sope, do you have a follow-up question? Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honorable R.J. Sitole. Can the Honorable Premier answer the questions?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. The question is from Honourable Sitole from DA. It reads, with regards to the COVID-19 vaccination rollout in Mpumalanga, can the Honourable Premier indicate the following? Can the Premier state whether there are challenges experienced by Mpumalanga province to receive the COVID-19 vaccines from national? The province, Honourable Speaker, is not experiencing challenges in receiving vaccines from national. We continue to receive weekly tranches of vaccination as per the rollout plan. Since the rollout of the vaccines, Mpumalanga province has struggled to keep up with the number of citizens registered compared to the number vaccinated. Can the Premier state what percentage of healthcare workers have currently been vaccinated in Mpumalanga? To date, Honourable Speaker, the province has vaccinated 58.5% of healthcare workers. Can the Premier state the reasons for Mpumalanga to continuously have their either the second or third lowest vaccination rate in South Africa? The reason why we have the second or third lowest as Mpumalanga continuously, Honourable Speaker, that has it is due to the low uptake of vaccines in the province. This is also attributed to the vaccine hesitancy, which is likely driven by vaccine disinformation that is prevalent throughout the country. We will utilize our media platforms to counter the anti-vaccination sentiment that is informed by the dissemination of fake news. Question 4, why are there delays with the daily delivery of vaccines to the vaccination sites by the department? What are the challenges experienced? For example, clinics or other pharmacies. In response, Honorable Speaker, vaccines are delivered to the department once a week by National Department of Health in all primary sites across the province. The province has not experienced any delays in the delivery of vaccines. Outreach teams, they take vaccines to outreach sites daily from primary sites according to the number of people who registered and were given appointments and or the estimated number of walk-ins without appointments. Private pharmacies also receive their batch of vaccines directly from National Department of Health on a weekly basis, and their operating hours are regulated by their owners. It should be noted that vaccines need special handling and must be stored at specific sub-zero temperatures. We can only keep a limited number of vaccines for people who walk in without appointments to avoid potential vaccine wastage. Question 5. With private institutions coming on board to assist the department with the rollout of the vaccines to the uninsured market, can the Premier state to date what is the amount paid from Mpumalanga Department of Health to the various private institutions and what is still outstanding? Honourable Speaker, private pharmacies that cater for the uninsured population in the province were accredited by the National Department of Health, and payments of such pharmacies is processed by the National Ministry of Health. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sitolo, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Premier. I do not have a follow-up question. All the questions were clearly responded to. Thank you very much.
Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honourable Weber. Honourable Premier, can you please respond to the questions?
Thank you very much once again, Honourable Speaker. The question is from Honourable Weber from VF+. In 2018, News 24 reported that 300 million was looted by state officials under the guise of a rapid implementation unit. In the 2019-20 audit reports of the Department of Health and the Department of Social Development, more than 200 million was spent on RIU in these departments alone. Can the Premier answer the following? Please specify what the duties are of the RIU. Please itemize these duties. In response, Honourable Speaker, the RIU was disbanded during the term of the previous administration, and as such, it is no longer operational. Please name the members of each RIU and specify how each member of the unit qualified for the position and what the financial composition of each member of the RIU received. This question, Honourable Speaker, based on my previous response, it falls away. The third question, in the report by News 24, Premier Mthweni said that this unit had been disbanded and allegedly disbanded in 2018. Was the unit reinstated as according to the 2019-2020 audit reports, money was still paid to those officials? In response, Honourable Speaker, I still want to reiterate that this unit has never been reinstated since it was abolished. Question number 4. Please specify which disciplinary action was taken against the official who formed the RIU that was accused of looting 300 million from 2015 to 2018. The main purpose of the unit was to fast-track government projects and clear bottlenecks. Following the recommendations by the Auditor General that it be discontinued, it was disbanded. An internal investigation that was instituted found no evidence of looting by officials. The matter that had been raised by the Auditor General was the method used to identify qualifying service providers. Can the Premier confirm when lifestyle audit on officials will be started to prevent further so-called looting of state funds? In response, Honourable Speaker, the issue of the lifestyle audit of officials, including politicians and civil servants, is ongoing and is receiving attention. The member will appreciate that the recent enactment of the Protection of Personal Information Act, as well as an amendment of the Financial Intelligence Center Act, have a material impact in the collation of personal information. We will continue to conduct lifestyle audits in accordance with the prescribed legislations. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Weber, do you have a follow-up question?
I have a question to the Honourable Premier. Honourable Premier, what is your position in principle? Are you going to engage in lifestyle audits in cases where criminality is concerned and where we can trace what has happened by way of a lifestyle audit?
Honourable Premier.
Honourable Speaker, we have been emphasizing and we've always been indicating that we will not tolerate any act of corruption within the public service. And as a result of that, any incidents that we come across, we do investigate them. And any matters that are reported, be it through Satises Lalele, through the presidential hotlines, or any walk-in information that we are getting, we do pay attention to and we do investigate them through our investigating unit. So therefore, it is a matter that we cannot turn a blind eye to, because it erodes the delivery of services that our people are so yearning for. So it is the matter that cannot be left unabated. At all times, whenever it rears its ugly head, we do attend to it as it comes. There's quite a number of investigations that are going ahead, and as and when they are finalized, certainly disciplinary actions across all departments are undertaken to ensure that we nip the corruption on the bud. Thank you very much.
Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honourable Sidibe. Honourable Premier, can you please answer the questions?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The question is from Honourable MC Sidibe from EFF. The last heavy rains in our province led to you, Honourable Premier, visiting some of the sites like the bridge connecting communities of Ligazi and Tewane South, and declared the situation as a disaster. Can the Honourable Premier give us an update about the status of those projects of rebuilding the damaged infrastructure as we are about to enter another rainy season? In response, Honourable Speaker, we have assessed the damages caused by the rains and quantified the estimated cost for the repair, where repair will restore the functionality of the infrastructure, or replacement where the damage was extensive, so as to render the infrastructure irreparable. The Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport did this exercise for the provincial roads infrastructure, and in addition prioritized infrastructure that needed urgent intervention. The list of projects included the Tewane-Kwanyamazane Bridge. The bridge in particular is going to be replaced by an upgraded structure for which designs were fast-tracked and completed by May 2021. And procurement is currently being concluded for a contractor to be appointed. And of course, Honourable Speaker, I must also indicate that we are gradually receiving funds from national insofar as this work is concerned. We can confirm that we've already received the disaster fund from National Department of Human Settlement, which already plans are underway insofar as the refurbishments of those houses that has gone through the stormy season last year around Bushbuckridge municipality. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sidibe, do you have a follow-up question?
Sorry, that's not the only question. There's a last one, Honourable Speaker, sorry. On the very same question.
Honorable Sidibe, can you please unmute?
Can I respond to the last question, Honourable Speaker? On the very same.
Honourable Premier.
Yes, thank you, Honourable Speaker. The last question reads, has the Premier revisited these areas to ascertain if proper alternative roads are in place, and are you happy with the amount spent so far in these temporary alternative roads? Honourable Speaker, indeed, I have been to Gwanyamazane to check the progress, because when you look at the extent of the damage that is there, it calls for a complete re-engineering of that bridge so that we do away with the old infrastructural development and come up with new design, which to some extent, those are some of the other reasons that is delayed quite a bit the refurbishment of that. So it calls for a complete overhaul of the project. Now, the alternative route that is there, and we know it's a bit hectic sometimes, it's an all N4 that our people are using. But what I have seen, there are other details that have been made, and maybe some of them were done by community members around that area, so as a way of a bypass in that area. So that is there, and we must indicate it does not look that well in the detour routes that have been made around the area, because even over and above the area in its current condition, it poses a huge risk to the motorists, because underneath there is running water, and it's a bit deep, almost about 2 meter, 3 meter high. So therefore, it is something that is not recommended, but I'm happy that the contractor will be taking site in due course. As the advertisement was finalized, he is going to get his appointment letter next week so that we start with the refurbishment of the bridge again. Thanks, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Sidibe, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. And thank you for the response, Honourable Premier. And I also like your Afro look. Textile, that's African, commended. Maybe the question will be, how do you know that the contractor will be a he? Because we are saying that he will be on site, not a she. How do you know that?
When I said to you, hairstyle ya prima when.
Thanks for the comments of the hairstyle, Misunga Binomon. But whether it's a he or she, you're correct, I don't know. I just use he, or it could be a she. I don't know who's appointed. But for all that I know, the contractor will be getting his appointment or her appointment next week, this coming week.
That's in order.
Thank you very much. And thanks for that correction.
Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honourable Hlophe. Can the Honourable Premier respond to the questions?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. The question is from Honourable Hlophe from the African National Congress. During one of the visits in Govan-Begi municipality, the Premier promised to address the long-standing sewer spillage problem. Service providers were appointed, but it is reported that the situation is even worse than before. The first question, what is or are there names of appointed service providers? In response, Honourable Speaker, around Mbalent, the extension 10, 16, 18, 19, 21, and 22 in Zone 4. The Department of Human Settlement appointed Prince of Tides Property Developments, Pty Ltd, as a contractor, and Kiratama Consulting Engineers as the consultants. In Leandra, Ward 2 and part of Ward 6, the Department of Human Settlement appointed Abazio Consulting Engineers as a 10-key appointment. Question 2. Did the service providers have the necessary expertise and experience in that field? In response, Honourable Speaker, yes, they were appointed on the basis of them being able to demonstrate their ability to execute the services and the designs and the construction and project management of the bulk and internal sewer infrastructure. Question 3. What led to the service providers not completing the project and doing shoddy work? In response, Honourable Speaker, in Mbalenhle Extension 10, 16, 18, 19, 21, and 22, Zone 4, the projects were completed and all work was certified as satisfactory by the project managers together with the municipality. However, there are some back blockages that are constantly being encountered due to our community members disposing foreign objects into the sewer system through flushing them in ablution facility or by dumping them directly into the main holes. Over and above the completed internal extensions I have referred to, an additional scope of refurbishing the pump station and outfall lines was then embarked upon in extension 22 and 25 of Mbalenhle. This is to ensure that all sewer drains effectively from the residential areas to the wastewater treatment works. This project is 65% complete. Question 4. Were such service providers paid in full for the incomplete work? No. No service provider was paid for work that was not done. Payments were only made against inspected works that were up to the standards prescribed by the Department of Human Settlement and the Govan-Begi local municipality. Question 5. Moving forward, in order to address the sewer problem, how and when is the Premier going to ensure that this problem is fully addressed? In response, Honourable Speaker, as the province will focus on addressing the bulk infrastructure challenges, which is the main reason for sewer spillages. Firstly, this requires proper planning of infrastructure which caters for the current and future population. In addressing the infrastructure planning, the Development Bank of Southern Africa, in partnership with COCTA, will be supporting municipalities to prepare infrastructure master plans. In the interim, as planned and budgeted for in the 2021-22 financial year, projects have commenced to address sewer challenges through the municipal infrastructure grants. There are big and water service infrastructure grants. These projects include the following: the refurbishment of sewer pump stations in Val, Taliyar, TLC, Johan and Miller Streets, and upgrades the Coligny sewer lines within Ligwa local municipality. The upgrading of MLO extension 32, 33, and 34 sewer outfall pipelines within Sugaligwa local municipality. The upgrading of Amersfoort wastewater treatment works by 2 megaliter within the Dr. Pixlika Isagaseme municipality. The upgrading of bulk sewer pipelines and pump stations at Mbalenhle extension 25, which is the pump station I spoke about earlier on, within the Govan-Begi municipality. the construction of the outfall sewer in Extension 8 in Lekwa Local Municipality. Honorable Speaker, the two projects aimed at addressing sewer spillages implemented by the Department of Human Settlements in both Govenbegi and Sugalikwa municipalities I alluded to earlier on are planned for completion before the end of this year in 2021-22 financial year. The Department of COGTA will continue coordinating all stakeholders to support the implementation of projects aimed at addressing sewer spillages. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Hlophe, do you have a follow-up question? Are there follow-up questions from other honourable members? Honourable Weber?
Through you, Honourable Speaker, to you, Honourable Premier. If I read what has been written here, that there was a sewer spillage problem, a service provider was appointed to solve the problem, and on that basis, he should have been only paid having solved the problem completely. Even if he had been paid and the problem is not solved, then he should have been called back and solve the problem and solve the problem in full. Has that been done?
Honourable Premier.
Honourable Speaker, I alluded to the problem there. You know, the main issue, you can have the proper infrastructure, bulk infrastructure layout, but for as long as there are still foreign particles that are being dropped through the main holes and being dropped through the bulk infrastructure system, will not be able to resolve the challenge. You will continuously have the challenge be seated with us, because every time when there are sewer blockages, when you go back there and you have a look at the things that are coming out of those manholes, clearly you can see that there is a deliberate, concerted effort that has been made to some extent, which is apportioned to the community as well, of not taking care of that infrastructure and use it for what it is intended for. And that does not help us in terms of improving on our network system. But over and above that, the work of the contractor ended up insofar as the laying of the bulk infrastructure, which will then lead to the wastewater treatment plant. What we have subsequently discovered that the pump station is not optimally working. So we had to devise ways and means yet again to refurbish the pump station that we are currently busy working on, which at this point in time is at 65%. Until that pump station it is fully commissioned. So it will also relieve of the stress and the strain in which it is within our system. So it is a multi-pronged approach that needs to be employed when this project is done. Perhaps the question could be that we could have picked up this thing way from the beginning so that all these projects, they run simultaneously. And of course, that would also be dependent on the financial muscle that is at our disposal. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
The next question is from Honourable Makarene. Honourable Mlobo will stand for him. Can the Honourable Premier respond to the questions?
Honourable Speaker, the question is from Honourable Makarene from the African National Congress. The old Bethel Correctional Service facility along the Hendrina Road is dilapidating and being vandalized because inmates were moved to the new structure in Bethel. First question, Honourable Speaker, what are the future plans of government on the land and the infrastructure? In response, Honourable Speaker, The land belongs to the national sphere of government under the custodianship of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. The Ministry of Public Works intends to renovate the infrastructure for utilization as correctional facility. Question 2. Does the land belong to the private person? In response, Speaker, no. As I have indicated, the land belongs to the government under the custodianship of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Is the answer above? If the answer above is in the affirmative, what is the monthly expenditure of government? As I have indicated above, the land and infrastructure is under the custodian of the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. As such, all costs incidental are borne by the National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Question 4. If there are future plans on the facility, how soon will they be implemented? The National Department of Public Works and Infrastructure has not provided timelines for the completion of renovations and repairs. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Premier, do we have an audited data of all provincial government infrastructure across the province? And with regard to those who are dilapidating, especially those around Bushbuck Ridge, what is it that we are doing to renovate them or to sell them, to get rid of them? Because they are on a yearly basis dilapidating. Thank you.
Honourable Premier.
Honourable Speaker, I think this is a new question which is not even necessarily related to the question that was asked. But however, I would indicate to the honourable member that we do have the infrastructure master plan that we are working on, which depicts the state of our infrastructure across the province and what is it that we have planned insofar as the refurbishment and the renovations and also the construction of those infrastructures. Continuously, it gets updated, and it also gives us the direction in terms of our planning for future developments within the province. So, but yes, if the members would like to have a look at that infrastructure master plan, it is available within the Department of Public Works, which will give a sense that in the next coming outer year, how did we plan in terms of our infrastructural development, our renovation, the refurbishments, and what have you not. We do have that definitely in our shores. Thanks, Honourable Speaker.
Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honourable Clovier Morgan. Can the Honourable Premier answer the questions?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. The next question is from Honourable Clovier Morgan from DA. Honourable Premier, in recent times, you have promised setting aside monies to deal with sewer spills in the province, and given the issue of both land and freshwater pollution, will the Premier answer the following questions? How many state-owned wastewater treatment plants do we have in the province? In response, the province has a total of 89 state-owned wastewater treatment plants. 12 of them are provincials and 77 of them belong to the municipality. How many of the state-owned wastewater treatment plants are polluting freshwater reserves in Mpumalanga? 42 of the 89 state-owned wastewater treatment plants were found to be non-compliant and polluting freshwater reserves in the province. 4 of these plants are owned by the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport and include the following: the Tonga Hospital Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Shongwe Hospital Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Barberton Correctional Services Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Witbank Correctional Services. 38 of these plants are owned by the municipalities, and the distribution is as follows. We've got 4 of those plants in Dr. Pitsliga Isagaseme, 3 of those plants in Galekwa, 1 in Lekwa, 3 in Chief Albert Lituli, 2 in Govenbegi, 1 in Kondo, 2 in Dipaliseni. Around Ehlanzeni district, we've got 3 of those plants in Bushbuckridge, 1 in Tabachwewu, 2 in Komazi, and 3 in the city of Mbombela. And in around Ngangala district, 3 of those plants are in Tembisilehani, 1 is in Dr. J.S. Moroka, 2 are in Victor Kanye, 4 of them are in Emalafeni, 1 in Steve Chwete, 1 and 2 of them in Emakazeni. Question 2. In your State of the Province address in February 2019, you mentioned that you would set aside 214 million to fix sewer spillages. You also mentioned that this government is attending to infrastructure challenges in Leandra, Mbalenhle, Weselton, Extension 32, 33, and 34 in Sugalikwa and Standerton. Given the above analogy, what has been done in these towns mentioned and with the 214 million? In Leandra, Honourable Speaker, the Department of Human Settlements worked in Ward 2 and part of Ward 6. The project was completed in March 2021. However, we are aware that subsequent to the completion of this project, there has been new challenges of sewer spillages which are currently being attended to. In Mbalenhle, we completed the upgrading of sewer internal reticulation in Extension 10, 16, 18, 19, 21, and 22 Zone 4. The project was successfully completed and handed over to the local municipality in March 2021. We are currently upgrading the pump station in Extension 25 and 22. In Sugalikwa, we are in a process of building 3 sewer pump stations which will service Emelo Extension 32, 33, and 34. The pump stations are due for completion in March 2022. The Sugalikwa local municipality will be constructing the upgrading of the sewer outfall line through funding from the Department of Water and Sanitation. In Standerton Extension 8, we are currently constructing 2 sewer pump stations due for completion by end of September 2021. The Garsibande District Municipality will be constructing the sewer outfall line to be completed by end of March 2022. Question 4. How much money do we need as a province to deal with sewer spillages in our province in totality? And in addition to the above, how much money would be needed to deal with the infrastructure backlog in the province? In response, the provincial government, through the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, has requested Rand Water to prepare the provincial water master plan, of which a draft plan has since been submitted. The process henceforth is for the consultation process with stakeholders to unfold, after which costing of the required infrastructure shall be determined. Upon the conclusion of these processes, we shall then be able to quantify the cost required to deal with sewer spillages in the province. Question 5. In years, how long would it take this provincial government to deal with old and dilapidated infrastructure in the province? In response, Honourable Speaker, the final provincial water master plan would provide guidance on the extent of infrastructure work required. It is important to indicate that over the past 10 years, government has contributed over 16 billion to deal with infrastructure for basic services. This investment contributed to the improved access to basic services despite existing challenges in the provision of basic services. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Morgan, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just have one question for the Premier. I appreciate the responses that she's given, quite productive, but I just want to find out something. The Premier mentioned that there are projects that will be completed in March 2022. I just want to know, have those projects already started, and at what percentage are they? Thanks, Speaker.
Honorable Premier.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I can indicate that those projects have already been approved in terms of the design and planning. We've already done some work. It's just a matter of getting them on the ground so that they are properly connected. So the second phase thereof is the implementation phase, which it is projected that by March next year, we shall have completed everything that is needed to be done along those projects. But yes, we are already on the ground, on the site, working on these projects.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? Honorable Weber.
Through you, Madam Speaker, through you, Madam Premier. Some time ago, I was informed that the wastewater treatment plant at Pixley-Kaseme was privatized. Can you give us more information? What is your position on that deal? Do you support that deal that was taken there? And what is your position? Was it successful?
Honorable Premier.
I'm not aware, Honorable Speaker, of the wastewater treatment plant in Pixley that has been privatized. However, we can investigate that matter and ascertain as to what happened, what has led to that, because that is the property. It should be ordinarily the property of the municipality, because they are the one who has license rights to operate those wastewater treatment plants. But we will follow up on what has been raised. Thanks, Honorable Speaker.
The next question is from Honorable Tabete, and Honorable Hlope will stand for her. Can the Honorable Premier answer the questions?
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. Our province, the question is from Honorable Tabete from the African National Congress. It reads, our province has experienced a rise of infection since the third wave. More than 30,000 positive cases have been recorded so far, with more than 611 fatalities. We have seen our Honorable Premier on a crusade to mobilize our people to conduct inspection of COVID-19 vaccination sites in the province. With regards to the above, can the Premier share with us the challenges and successes faced by the vaccination program in the province? In response, Honorable Speaker, some of the challenges faced by the vaccination program in the province include low uptake of the vaccine and the anti-vaccine narrative on social media, leading to vaccine hesitancy. Successes in the vaccination program in the province, which includes the involvement and support from traditional leaders, traditional health practitioners in mobilizing the community. Support from partners, Right to Care, Broadreach, DG, Marais Trust, and WHO. The collaboration and support from mining and farming sector in mobilizing its community, the political support and advocacy. Question 2, what measures are there in place to expand the vaccination sites to all communities and the mining sector? The province has put the following measures to expand vaccination sites as follows. We have increased workforce to improve vaccine rollout program. The following workers are appointed: 175 professional nurses to augment existing vaccinators, 486 data capturers for registration and capturing of EVDS, 60 enrolled nursing assistants for screening and vital signs. We have increased fixed vaccination sites from 20 to 60 sites, whilst continuing with daily community outreach. We shall continue with the vaccination program at SASA, pay points, and taxi ranks. Question 3. Can the Premier share on how the vaccination affects the elderly and people with chronic illness? In response, Honourable Speaker, vaccination is a prevention measure that protects individuals against severe symptoms of COVID-19 and death, especially for the elderly and people with chronic illnesses and other comorbidities. What mechanisms are there in place to deal with stigma associated with lack of knowledge about COVID-19 in our communities? We continue, Honourable Speaker, to provide continuous health education and awareness campaigns on COVID-19 vaccine safety measures and benefits at community level using radio talk shows, posters, and communities and all social media platforms. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Hlophe, do you have a follow-up question? Are there follow-up questions from other members? The next question is from Honourable Makarenge, and Honourable Mlombo will stand. For him, can the Honourable Premier answer the questions?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The question is from our Chief Whip, Honourable It's from Honourable Makarini from the African National Congress. The residents of Tembisile Hani and Dr. J.S. Moroka municipalities in our province have waited quite far too long for the realization of the Moloto Rail Corridor project announced in 2006. Can the Premier give a full account to the people of Mpumalanga on the challenges faced in realizing this project? Honourable Speaker, the National Department of Transport made a submission to Treasury for the operational funding required for the establishment of the Project Management Office and the capital funding for the implementation phases of the project, and the application was rejected. A ministerial meeting between the Honourable Minister and the Honourable MEC was held regarding the Moloto Rail project after the Honourable Minister directed that the project be revitalized. After the recent engagements with National Treasury, it was resolved that there is a need to update the feasibility study that was submitted. However, funding is still an issue for this project to move forward. Question 2. Since the project cuts across Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and part of Limpopo, what are the shared responsibilities of these provinces to the project? Honourable Speaker, the province pledged its support towards this project and it is running with the processes. The national government announced a 34 billion budget for the construction of the Moloto Rail in 2014. And in 2016, the community was reassured when a cooperation agreement was signed by the government with China to build the rail corridor. What has since happened with regards to this commitment? The project has been registered as public-private partnership, and when the project was confirmed in 2014, the national sphere of government estimated that it would need 20 billion for the rail construction, 10 billion for rolling stock, and 4.5 billion for road construction. Small bus and taxi business operators have also suffered economic exclusion due to PATCO monopoly, dominance within the Moloto transportation business, yet they receive subsidy from government. What measures is our provincial government undertaking to broaden economic inclusion and ensuring local business people participate? In response, Honourable Speaker, PATCO entered into an interim contract with the National Department of Transport in 1997 to transport commuters from the former Kwandebele areas. The purpose for the contract was to address socio-economic challenges. These subsidies were meant to assist commuters who were providing labor in Gauteng. Hence, 99% of the total subsidy allocation from Division of Revenue Act is currently managed and controlled by the Gauteng Department of Transport since 2009. Around 1% of these services are controlled by Mpumalanga Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport since 2009, which are as follows: the Kwamhlanga Crossing, Waterfall, Madlayetwa Crossing, Sun City Sea, but it's quite a number of them. Honourable Speaker, I will submit them for members to see them. The other bigger portion of PATCO's operation is managed by Gauteng Department of Transport under IC 52/97. The National Land Transport Transition Act of 2009 and Public Transport Strategy Action Plan 2007 and the Integrated Public Transport Network promotes integration of public transport services. The Public Transport Strategy identified 12 cities and 6 rural districts for the implementation of IPTN. Mbombela is one of the identified cities. Introduction of integrated public transport to include other operators will require additional funding. Lack of additional funding have been the most critical impediment towards the introduction of new services. The current subsidy system is underfunded and additional subsidies are required to introduce effective public transport system and improve service output. However, decisions on these matters lie with the national government. Ours is to make recommendations. Question 4. What is the practical measure provincial government together with National Department of Transport are putting in place to make this project a success for the people of Mpumalanga? There are ongoing engagements between the Mpumalanga Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, National Department of Transport and Treasury regarding the revitalization of this project. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
No, I'm fine, Honourable Speaker. We hope that the revitalization will take place as soon as it is practically possible. Thank you.
Are there follow-up questions from other honourable members? The next question is from Honourable Javier Morgan. Can the Honourable Premier answer the questions?
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Speaker. And just before I get to that, I think I need to assure Honourable Mlombo that along the Mhlanga Road, the revitalization program has already started, but it has started with the road network system. But the railway line, that's the one that is still outstanding, that has not been done. But quite extensive work has already been done up to thus far. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I will then move on to the question by Honourable Javier Morgan. Honourable Premier, over the past couple of years, there was a handful of municipalities in the province which struggled with all aspects of financial management and because of which found themselves in a financial crisis. Given the above, will you answer the following questions? Honourable Premier, despite the provincial intervention being enforced in Emalahleni and the financial recovery plan in place, the financial crisis is worsening. The Auditor General noted the municipalities' liabilities exceeded their assets for the 2019-2020 financial year by over 1.3 billion. In addition, the municipality now owes ESCOM 5 billion. Yet again, I ask, why is the provincial government reluctant to place this municipality under administration? In response, our first priority as government is to support our municipalities. As the honourable member is aware, the intervention in the Malahleni local municipality was done in terms of Section 139(5), subsection 5 of the Constitution, and a mandatory financial recovery plan was developed in terms of Section 139 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. In terms of Section 146, subsection A of the MFMA, the municipality must implement the recovery plan. A financial recovery plan has been developed and is being implemented. At this stage, there is no intention to intervene in the Malahleni local municipality in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. However, COGTA and Provincial Treasury will continue with providing support in terms of Section 154, subsection A1, and Section 155, subsection 6 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, read with Section 105 of the Local Government Municipal System Act. Question 2. This financial recovery approach was in place for a number of years now, and the municipality is in the same position it was in 2016. This is as the municipality is owed 5.9 billion for the sale of services and at the same time owing ESCOM 5 billion for services rendered. How has the provincial intervention improved this municipality? In response, the intervention in Malahleni local municipality was done in terms of Section 139, subsection 5 of the Constitution, and the mandatory financial recovery plan was developed in terms of Section 139 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. In terms of Section 146, subsection A of the MFMA, the municipality must implement the recovery plan. The following progress has been recorded. The reviewal of current organizational structure to ensure it is in line with the current municipal budget and service delivery demands. The municipality's organizational structure has been reviewed, updated, and is being implemented. The workshop all the presiding officers, the managers and supervisors on the code of conduct, disciplinary processes and procedures, as well as the ethical behavior. The managers and supervisors, they attended the workshop on the code of conduct, disciplinary processes, procedures, and ethical behavior. On performance management, we have the municipality has adopted and implemented the IPMS policy and rolled out an automated IPMS system. Within the sphere of local government, performance management has been identified as a tool for promoting accountability. The municipality started with a budget deficit of 3.5 billion, and the plans in place assisted the municipality to reduce the budget deficit to 3 billion, a reduction of 500 million. Revenue enhancement strategy has been reviewed, updated, and is being implemented. The municipality has made revenue enhancement a priority with regular revenue enhancement meetings held by all directorates to focus on implementing the revenue enhancement strategies. Convert defaulting conventional meters customers to prepaid meters. During January and February 2020, 570 defaulting conventional meters customers were converted to prepaid. The municipalities has introduced a system for the electronic distribution of accounts in the customer care, and the financial controls ensuring financial discipline is enforced. The monthly reconciliation of control accounts are done by officials and are reviewed by managers on a monthly basis. They've also developed and implemented an invoice payment tracking system, which was recently launched by the MEC for the Department of Treasury. The municipality remains with challenges of infrastructure for basic services. However, the following projects are in progress to address these challenges. The design and construction of engineering services in Clarinet and Siangoba Phase 2, link and bulk water supply, the refurbishment of Riverview wastewater treatment works, the construction of Empumelelweni and Wakuka Extension 10 water distribution network, the construction of Empumelelweni bulk outfall sewer, the construction of 8 reservoirs at Wakuka at the capacity of 17.4 megaliters. Emalahleni bulk water project upgrade capacity of water treatments to keep up with demand. The upgrading of Ferrobank and Noport wastewater treatment works, the upgrading of Klepspruit wastewater treatment works, and the new Ferrobank outfall sewer pipelines is in progress, and the construction of Lowport landfill site. The DPSA, Honourable Speaker, will be assisting the municipality with project preparation and assist in identifying funding options to address the bulk infrastructure challenges faced by the municipality. More importantly, COGTA has requested the Deputy Minister, Water and Sanitation, to assist the municipality with the allocation of resources to expedite the implementation of infrastructure projects. By when will this provincial government take a hands-on approach in this municipality? In response, Honourable Speaker, the municipality is already receiving support in the improvement of financial management. Provincial Treasury are providing support in the areas of budget, revenue management, supply chain management, asset management, MSCOA, and accounting and audit support. This support assisted the municipality to reduce the budget deficit and improve the audit outcome. Question 4. The city of Mbombela is also in a predicament wherein the municipality's current liabilities exceeds the municipality's current assets. And for the 2019-2020 financial year, this amount was over 1.4 billion. What has this province done to turn around the finances in this municipality? In response, Honourable Speaker, the city of Mbombela is a non-delegated municipality, and through the support of National Treasury, the financial recovery plan was developed. Further support from National Treasury assisted the municipality to adopt a funded budget. Question 5. Honourable Premier, to your knowledge, how many of our municipalities in the province are in a financial crisis, and do you feel that enough is being done to assist failing municipalities? In response, Honourable Speaker, currently there are 5 other municipalities in financial distress, which are Msuga Lekwa, Govenbegi, Kabachwewu, and Dipaliseng. 4 of these municipalities have already been supported with development of mandatory financial recovery plans in terms of Section 139 of the MFMA, and they are Msuga Lekwa, Govenbegi, and Tabachwewu. Priority supports are provided to all the financial distressed municipalities with reprioritization of their budgets to assist them in developing credible cash-backed budgets. Revenue management support are provided to assist these municipalities to improve their revenue baseline, and further support is provided in improving the control environment over expenditure. Municipalities were advised to establish cash flow committees to strengthen the monitoring of revenue and expenditure performance of municipalities. The Baliseng is supported in terms of Section 105 of the Local Government Municipal System Act with improvement on budget status, revenue enhancement, and improvement over the financial control environment. The implementation of all support recommendations remains the responsibility of the municipalities in terms of Section 135 of the MFMA. The provincial government can assist and recommend, but the responsibility ultimately rests with the municipalities themselves. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Morgan, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, thank you, Honourable Speaker. I just would like to ask the Premier how long are they planning to run with this financial recovery plan? And if there is no improvement in these municipalities, especially eMalahleni, what is the way forward? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Premier.
We are prepared to run and to support the municipalities until there is an improvement in their within their systems. Now, for as long as there is no material improvement thus far, and for as long as we have not sorted out their debtors account, it's virtually almost impossible for us to say that we'll just pull out and leave this municipality in a disarray situation. And therefore it is important, difficult as it may be, because some of the challenges that are experienced by the municipalities are exacerbated by external forces in the form of communities not being able to adhere to their monthly billing, and that also has its own story to tell. When you look at the municipality of eMalahleni, generally that is an economically viable municipality. But when you look at the state of the economy within that municipality, jobs having been shed as a result of closure of the mining sectors and quite a number of the manufacturing sectors, that has affected the billing quantities of our municipalities in terms of the payments by our communities. So there are quite a number of factors at play. So more and more, the municipalities ordinarily that should not be dependent on government, they are more and more becoming reliant and dependent on government as a result of the situation where they find themselves in. They're no longer able to cope with the situation in which they find themselves in. And again, the more the bill of ESCOM goes up, the more the penalties they have to pay. So those are quite a number of issues that are at play. It is not an overnight thing that we can say for sure it would be done within this period of time. There are quite a number of issues that needs to be addressed, and the municipality alone will not be in a position to address its challenges at this point in time. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
The next question is from Honourable Khropla. Can the Honourable Premier answer the questions?
Honourable Speaker, I know I'm out of line here, but I'm really not satisfied with the response.
Honourable Morgan.
Yeah, Honourable Speaker, really, can you give me I just need a follow-up question, because I am not satisfied. You cannot say, and the Premier cannot respond and say, she's giving me an indefinite question. So the next 20 years down the line, the municipality will be still on a financial recovery plan. I'm not satisfied with that question, Honourable Speaker. I'm sorry to intervene, but I'm not happy with that response. I thank you.
Speaker, I don't want to disappoint. You know, when I come back and commit on a particular date, it would be virtually impossible. I was trying to expatiate. I have said that we will assist them until the municipality stabilizes. But as to when will the municipality stabilize, from where I'm seated, having appreciated the challenges that our municipalities are seized with, it's almost difficult for me to commit to a particular timeline, which might not necessarily be adhered to. So I'm so sorry, Honourable Morgan. I would have loved to give you a definite answer, because to us, this is a very thorny issue that we are so yearning to get it right as well. And we're saying we'll work with the municipality until we get their situation right. So there are quite a number of things that needs to be done. So this needs a concerted effort by all spheres of government, and also the commitment by our communities to make sure that we turn around the situation. Thanks, Honourable Speaker.
The next question is from Honourable Grobler. Can the Honourable Premier answer the question?
Thanks, Honourable Speaker. The question is from Honourable Grobler from DA. Honourable Premier, in your State of the Province address this year, you mentioned that the provincial government has identified 8,906 hectares of state land in a form of 33 farms to be redistributed to farmers in the province. Given the above, will the Premier answer the following questions? Is the 8,906 hectares the only land which is owned by the provincial government and that is vacant and unused? Madam Speaker, Schedule 4 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa identified agriculture as one of the areas of concurrent national and provincial competences. The state land in question is under the jurisdiction of the National Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Land Reform, and therefore not owned by the province. These properties are agricultural state land in the former KwaNdebele and were found to have been already occupied by farmers identified by the former KwaNdebele government. In the province, we have further identified 890 farm portions to be extended to 272,000 hectares through lease agreements to the identified farmers as part of the redistribution program of government. Question 2. Have tests been done on all 33 farms to ascertain if the land is fertile and suitable for farming? The response, Honourable Speaker, the provincial government through the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs conducts soil testing through the available soil labs on an ongoing basis to allocating any agricultural land to farmers. Question 3. As these farms have already been identified, have any of them been distributed to the intended beneficiaries? The response, yes, Honourable Speaker. As I have already indicated earlier, these farms in questions have been allocated to farmers identified by the former KwaNdebele government. They are occupying them through the lease agreement. If any of the farms have been distributed, have intended farmers been able to access training by the provincial government? The response, the provincial government through the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development and Land and Environmental Affairs, we train farmers in areas such as entrepreneurship, marketing, plant and animal husbandry. We are also prioritizing greening of Mpumalanga through various programs. One of them I will be launching in Chief Albert Lituli tomorrow. If not, why haven't they been distributed, and may we be provided with a timeline of when? As I have indicated above, Honourable Speaker, the land has already been allocated and there are farmers who are occupying it. Thank you very much. Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Grobler, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Let me thank the Premier for answering the question. And Premier, I just think it's fitting that we close on this question because this is what the debate was about today, part of it. And I think it's the importance of programs like these will really mend relationships in our province. So I can just ask you to work hard to make programs like this a success, but no follow-up question. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Honourable Premier.
No, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. We want to assure that
Honourable Premier. It seems like we have lost the Honourable Premier. Can the administration assist? We'll just wait for a few seconds. The Premier is trying to reconnect. Honorable Premier, over to you. Honorable Premier, can you please unmute your mic?
Honorable Premier. Honorable Premier.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can come in, Honorable Premier.
I'm sorry about that. I got disconnected, so I've just tried to connect over my phone now. So, yeah. Now, I was saying that thanks to the comments by Honorable Hobler, we will make every effort to make sure that we increase on such programs of greening, as they would have a positive impact in as far as the increasing on the food basket of the province. And this is just one project that is quite good. It's a good initiative that we will be launching in Chief Albert Lutuli. Subsequent to that, we would be launching the very same project in Emalahleni on Monday. And then accordingly, we will be moving along Hlanzeni region, where we would be looking at the citrus farms, where we put such initiative and mainly targeting women and young people. So we will make sure that we pull every strings to make sure that those projects are becoming successful, and that will eliminate all social ills within our communities. Thank you very much, Honorable Hlophe.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? We have come to the end of the questions. Thank you, Honorable Premier, for the reply of the questions. That brings us to the end of today's business. The House is adjourned until Thursday, the 2nd of September, 2021 at 2:15 as a hybrid sitting via Microsoft Teams platform.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Somlo. Bogotu.
Siyabonga Speaker.
Siyabonga Premier. Siyabonga Somlo. Nembokote yokulwa la, we are not right. Why nilwe nge-women's month ma? Nithi senze njani simhlonipha so ngale nyanga?
Malibongwe Speaker.
Asilwi manje siyakhuluma.
Hayi bakhona nabe bashovana la.
Sithandzana. Siyathandzana ikhole.
Ya lungisa